for the first time. Yeah.
But there is.
Oh,
Oh, there you go.
Same his name.
Perfect. All right, so we call the meeting to order. So welcome everybody. Just as a kind of for everybody here at the present, we do have a quorum. We've got 4 members present, which is just barely a quorum. We are expecting 1 other member. If you would rather wait for, or not be, just be advised that with 4 members, the votes can be closer, though. I think, just that's a little bit of a heads up, but shouldn't really impact the presentation. Before we get started, I think we just have a motion to approve the minutes from September.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Right, and just so you know, all 4 of the members who were present at last month's that meeting, so we do have a quorum for that. So are there any objections to approving them? And none, those minutes are approved. All right, so we're gonna get started right now with new business, item A, BAR 23/2025, which is for 59 Dale Avenue, and this is a BAR approval request for roof replacement and roof height extension for an accessory garage structure. So we call the applicant up. We will get the drawings, I think, put up and let you introduce yourself and let us know about your project.
Yeah, my name is Dom Santucci. My wife's Deborah Santucci. We own the property on 59 Dale Avenue. I've owned this property for probably 70 years for my family. So we have some garages there that were built years ago, and I've been repairing them and repairing them and repairing them. And I like to make them look nice now, put a peak on them, put some siding on it, so everything looks nice, so look more in like the neighborhood, like the house it is. And that's all we're doing. We are not extending anything. We are not making it any larger. As you can see what it looks like now compared to what it would look like. It's going to be improvement for the neighborhood. That's another garage that's already there. I'm trying to let it look something like that.
Match the sign.
So there is no extension being put on, nothing is getting larger on it. The only thing we're doing is putting a little height to it so we can get a peak on it and to make it look nice. So that's what we're here for. I hope you approve this.
Okay, so in terms of materials, you were showing, there were some photos that went up there. So the idea is that it would match those other
Right.
structures that are currently on your
Dark
site.
roof and vinyl siding. Try to get them basically the same color. That's like a light grayish, bluish kind of.
Right, but it would match that
Yes.
specific garage in that photograph. I just wanted to,
As you can see, the new one is almost like that.
Yeah.
The peaks are almost the same. I had to get a certain kind of peak so the water will run off.
okay. And I think that this is a, there's a variance in effect on this property for this use.
No, so about 10 years ago, I believe there was an interpretation that this is a legally non-conforming use.
Okay.
And therefore it is subject to the provisions concerning the repair, maintenance, expansion, enlargement, of non-conforming uses in the zoning code. So really, Joe kind of needs to weigh in on whether or not this is a structural alteration, whether it's a permissible structural alteration to the code, because it is limited due to its status as a non-conforming use.
Well, we put in an application to them and they kicked this back to here.
Mhm.
They have a set of plans and you probably have them there in front of you.
Yeah, and Joe's here. I mean, Joe, I don't know if you can speak to this in terms of being,
Yes.
but what's the, just repeat that distinction that we're trying to,
Right, so because this is a non-conforming use, it's limited in the ability to be repaired, maintained, expanded, or enlarged. And Joe really needs to weigh in on whether replacement of the roof is considered a structural alteration. And if so, whether it is a permitted reconstruction or restoration or expansion or enlargement, where it can proceed without needing a variance.
so permitted would be, sorry, just to break that out. There's
Right.
a lot.
Right. So the code has a ton of requirements about
Yeah.
under which circumstances non-conforming uses can be reconstructed or restored. It's predicated on the extent to which the building is damaged, when the damage occurred and when they're seeking to do that repair in relation to when the damage initially occurred. So Joe kind of needs to weigh in on whether this is something that can be performed with a building permit under these provisions, or whether or not a variance is needed to expand or enlarge.
Right, and so, and you're saying like a repair is permitted, but a structural alteration is what
Right, but
isn't, would require the variance.
correct. Well, they're very convoluted.
Yeah.
Any sort of destruction or damage by any means is regulated under this code, so it's really a matter of when you became aware of the damage to the roof and whether or not this is permissible under the code by child.
Can I say something?
Yep.
This,
Sorry, can you just
This is-
introduce yourself?
oh, hi, I'm Deborah Santee. Thank you. This damage is not a damage from a specific event. It's not from a storm, it's not from a wind. It's an overtime kind of a thing. It's like your house. You have your roof on there for 50 years. It's got a hole in it. It needs a replacement. It needs a repair. We've done patches over the years, way before even the variance. Now, we felt that it's an eyesore, that the repair should be also something that would make it look nicer. So in order to make that picture that you had there look nicer, we went to an architect and, yeah, we felt that it would look much nicer if it was, you know, if there was a peak on it, if it matched the siding on the house. It didn't occur from a specific event, because I've read that code very carefully. There's nothing of the structure that's going to be enlarged. Nothing different is going to happen with the use. It's just that we felt to repair that, what it looks like, it would look much better if it was repaired in this manner. And it was sort of a, over time, kind of a, you know, wear.
Joe, does that mean, what was your interpretation? Because I know you did forward this as a VAR to our board.
We didn't really discuss the interpretation of it internally. I mean, we had like a touch base on it a little bit, but I think what we left off was that I believe, Taryn, you wanted to read all the provisions of what was part of the approval back, whatever it was 10, 15 years ago, on what was approved through the interpretation. So I mean, I prefer that we be able to at least have some more discussion about it, because I mean, although there is a little, what they're proposing to do is different than what's there. I don't really based on what the approvals were, if this is really kind of under the category of increasing a non-conforming use.
Right, so there, in one of the, in the ZBA resolution, it specifically says the ZBA further interprets the existing garage structures on the attached property layout as pre-existing non-conforming structures as to use, bulk, setbacks, and other dimensional requirements. The applicant shall be permitted to repair or replace the garage structures and or fences in the property and yard in accordance with applicable provisions of the code of the Village of Austining and the Uniform Building and Fire Codes of the State of New York.
Right, so that would include the provisions on structural alterations for non-conforming
Right.
uses.
But it did say replace, right?
It does say to repair or replace the garage structures and or fences.
So that would be as of right based on the zoning resolution.
That's what, that's what the zoning resolution says. So,
We had discussed that at the meeting with them because it was old, even back then. And we knew that eventually, you know, we would have to make more of a repair than a patch.
You know, how long can you keep a roof like that? You know, it's like your house. Eventually you have to put new shingles on the roof. And that's the same thing. That's all we're trying to do, is make it look good. Give it a peak so it matches. It's good for the neighborhood. It's good for the neighbors. I mean, I don't see no harm in this at all.
Right, again, just the question is whether or not, because again, it's a legally non-conforming use. The
Right.
zoning board established that, and the zoning board is saying that they can repair or whatnot in accordance with provisions of the code. So the code has requirements pertaining to the reconstruction or replacement or repair of non-conforming uses. And so one of those bases is whether it is a reconstruction or restoration permitted in the provisions of this article. And so that requires Joe to take a look at the reconstruction restoration provisions and just confirm that this is included within those parameters.
I guess, Joe, to put this another way, I mean, the applicant has noted that they're looking to put a pitch on the roof just for performative reasons. Would the code be okay with another flat roof, or are there performative or other, code or structural reasons that would result in the design that we're seeing here with the pitched roofs?
I mean, to me, it's not increasing the square footage. It's not adding a second story. I mean, they're doing a pitched roof basically to have the structures, obviously they're getting deteriorated the way the roofs are now. So I can see the intent of why they'd want to make a pitched roof to shed water properly. I wrote a referral basically to have it more, just the alteration of it for the BAR. I didn't consider this really to be expanding of a non-conforming type of use, so I didn't write any referral to go to the zoning board for anything, but I didn't also read all the provisions of that approval back then. So I mean, if there is anything in the provisions that prohibits them to do what they're proposing for now, then I'd have to confer this with the land use attorney, but just based on the code for expanding a non-conforming use, I personally wouldn't think that this was expanding a non-conforming use.
And Valerie, just, because there's,
Right.
going back into the zoning resolution though for a second, it almost sounds like the zoning resolution is saying something a little bit different from the code section that Taryn was reading insofar as
Well,
they're almost requiring them to maintain it in a certain manner.
they're saying it shall be permitted to repair or replace the garage structures, right? So there's no definition of what's considering replacement. And I
Right.
think that's really the issue, is the pitch roof, is that replacement, or is, and I think that's what you were raising.
Right.
Then who's the decide, sorry, and it's.
That would be, I think, Joe.
Joe has already said he sees this as consistent with the existing use. It's
Right.
not changing
It's
the
more
square
or less
footage, not changing the use. It's in kind with a change in the roof slope, which is performative, just to, prevent the damage from
As you
recurring.
know, I'm a builder, and a pitched roof, you want to get the water off the roof as fast as possible and get it out. If it sits there, it creates a hole, and then it gets inside and the beams start rotting out, and then you have a problem with it. So what we did here is basically just to try to make everything better.
So on the zoning question, on the zoning issue, are there any kind of questions or thoughts from the board? Where we kind of push the conversation towards the AR?
I have a comment. It seems like adding the peak roof doesn't increase the intensity of the use. It's just, I think based on the conversation everybody's having, I'm not a lawyer, but it's not expanding. It does seem like it's a maintenance issue. And
Just appearance.
for longevity of a structure. And so it's not really allowing them to increase the intensity of that use, park more vehicles there. It's just giving basically a gable and a restructuring of the roof line. So I don't have any issues with it. That's my 2 cents.
Any questions on the actual, maybe just understanding these drawings too, just making sure, because when we're looking at that photo, what view are we seeing? Because there's a lot of changes happening here, so it's a little hard to read exactly what view we have in the photos. I don't know if maybe you guys can just help us understand that.
Well, go back to the front, the old one.
The photo?
Photo, yeah, you go right here.
Maybe Matt, you
Yep.
just follow
I
up.
got it, okay.
So we're looking at it this way, the garages have a garage here and this north and,
Wait, am I following the tube or?
yeah, okay. So what we're doing is, this gets extended up, I think 2.5 feet, and then you're putting this like this. And this is going back here. This is gonna come up to match this roof going forward, so the water runs backwards. This is gonna go here and that's gonna go, just the way it is right now. This is slightly pitched this way, this is slightly pitched that way, and this is slightly pitched that way.
But I think the question is, how does that, like,
I think go
how do
down
we
to
get
bottom
reoriented?
drawing
here?
there, I think is what we're
Okay.
looking at, right? That view, is that correct? The south elevation?
Well, yeah,
Like
let me
here?
see, yeah, come down a little bit. Okay, this is the front that you saw going this way. This garage here is the only one that has a garage door right now. So if you go back, here it is, right here, see it?
Oh, there it is.
Okay, so that's that view.
That's that view, and so that's the view there that you're getting, right? And then this sets back, and this is another garage that goes, so this will be like this. Going to there.
But if you look at the
This is
front of those trucks, if you go to the next set of photos, but now scroll down.
This is the rear, huh?
No, in the drawings, you were correct in the drawing, sorry. Go to that lowest drawing, that's where those trucks will be facing you in those two bays.
Yes. That's exactly what you see have there. You're
Okay.
facing it.
I think that helped. I don't know if
Yeah.
that helps to orient people, but,
With no doors.
no doors, right? That's open there?
That's open there, yes,
That's what.
Okay, as it is today.
as it is today, yeah.
Okay. And the side of the side of that structure does have siding on it. That's the
Yeah.
side that we say on the drawing number 3.
Right. Not, like I said, nothing's changed, you know.
And the
But-
backs are all sided because the back,
Yes.
the number 2 is the back side of the
Right,
fence.
this gets sided, the side gets sided, this is open. Well, this you see on the side, so that's why you're seeing that side. But-
in the previous drawing, like there were. Hard to show the.
This?
No,
I mean on the drawing. This, right?
You go up a little, Maddie? Yeah, so that does have doors on it.
Those
No,
are, I think
These
it's-
are open, these are
Yeah.
bracing.
Okay.
This is the only door that's existing right now.
So there aren't more doors.
It's open when you're looking out.
It's still mostly an open
Like
structure,
carports, that's
kind of
what
two sided that are closed. It makes more sense now having walked through
That
it.
was helpful.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, any questions on material or, well done, Maddie.
Oh, thank you, Maddie.
I think the materials were based on the photograph, right, that we're evaluating. So it was the vinyl siding and the,
Charcoal roof and a light gray siding like that.
Mhm.
and we're not doing any new garage doors, so the only garage door that's there is already there.
Well, I might redo the garage door that's there, put a new garage door, the one that's there already.
We look-
Not those, no, those are.
Yeah, to go to
separate,
the
they're not-
drawing, yeah,
that-
scroll over.
That
there.
one right
This-
there.
Okay. But it would match what's there.
Match exactly, same thing as there, it's just the
White.
windows. It's white. It would be like this garage doors. That's a wood door, this is a metal door.
Place with a metal door to match the others.
Yeah, right.
Got it. I mean, look, I think the fact that this is in a residential neighborhood and I think putting residential finishes on it is helpful, look a little nicer. So, I mean, any other questions from the board on this? Sorry, I know it took a minute to get here, just to make sure we were addressing the potential zoning issues correctly. So,
The only question that I may have that I can ask Mr. Santucci is the intent to raise the roof is only for the purpose of, because they're flat roofs and it gets damaged by water, not with any intent of using them to park larger vehicles, correct?
No,
Okay.
not allowed.
Only because back when the approval was done with the zoning board, remember there was a plan that was set up about the number of vehicles and the size and so forth. So the question I only ask is that if, as you're answering, that there is no intent to change anything from that approval.
No,
and that any change to the size of the vehicles, which is in the zoning resolution, would require a zoning variance.
Right, because when that was approved, it was a kind of a site plan that was produced showing the parking and, you know, what number of vehicles and how many vehicles they were allowed to have there and the size, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to mention that it was specifically tailored to what was there. And the vehicles that were there then are there now. We have a very small, because those garages are used specifically by us. We have a very small business. We don't have a lot of vehicles and we haven't increased anything in size. So everything is basically the same. In fact, most of the vehicles we had then, we still have. You know, we know exactly that, that's specifically written in there. You know,
Awesome. Yeah, I just wanted, We just want to make that statement because, you know, I know that was part of the approval back then.
Absolutely.
Just so the board can understand that what the intent of what you're doing doesn't change any of that.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed, we're just trying to make it look nice and put a peak on there, so basically all we're doing.
Yeah,
The
thank-
size doesn't get changed, there's no more square footage added on it.
Yeah.
You see the plans of structure, we're just adding a little bit to get the peak out of everything. So it works.
Yeah, I think we got it. We have a motion to open the public hearing on this application.
Something I'd like to say.
Sure. So,
Michael.
first we have to open the public hearing.
All right, Michael and then Holly.
Michael and Holly, any objections? No objections. We're now in the public hearing. So if you're here to speak to this application, you may come up, just introduce yourself and your place of residence.
Thank you.
And just speak clearly so the folks in the theater can hear you.
My name is Pam Bucko. Some of you probably remember me. A lot of new faces. I live at 65 Dale Avenue, Brookfield Muse condominiums. And we have some concerns and we weren't sure this structure that says that the roof height and the garages, well, first of all, it is an eyesore the way it is now, and any improvement would be great, as long as it's not taller than the structures that are there now. Back in 2014, I think it was, 2013, 2014, we were trying to make the village understand that our neighborhood is a T-zone, just like it says on today's agenda and notification that can map to our house. It's not considered a T-zone where 69 Dale Avenue is. It's a construction site, which has doubled, maybe even tripled the amount of trucks that are in there since 2014. And a lot of the trucks are tree company trucks that have those great big buckets up on the top. When they come in there, they open them up, they clean them out. They're constantly backing up, but that's a whole different story. The other concern is, they had to put Mr. Santucci had to put a wall up between, on the side of his property, on the edge of his property. It was supposed to be something that cut back on the scenery of a construction site, because our property is up higher than his property. So when you walk in our driveway and you look over, it's construction site. The wall was only put up halfway as far as bricks, and then they allowed him to put a chain link fence on the rest with some pieces of plastic in it, which does not hide anything. After a few years, they started putting things on top of these garages without, we're not in this picture right now. Today I took pictures, they have a big water tank up there, which is way up over the top of the gate. Now, if you're gonna take these buildings and are looking at his pictures, the two garages in the back, which are hanging in the brook, and when it rains, the water goes into the brook. And now he's gonna put a construction there with drainage it's gonna go in the brook. Where's it gonna go? Where's the drainage gonna go? It's gonna go in the brook. Still goes in the brook. But the thing is, it's leaning, like, I'm gonna tell you about 6 inches from being in the brook, that building. But we don't want it taller. We don't want to keep seeing these buildings get taller and bigger, and the construction site might not be inches and feet bigger, but it's definitely increased as far as their business. The trucks leave at 7 in the morning. They're not supposed to be in there till 9. The gates are not locked anymore. That lasted 2 years from our last incident. So trucks are going in and out their time, day and night. Now they're gonna do construction in there. Nobody's gonna control that either. So it's like, it's a free thing now. It's like anything goes on in there, nothing's been directed. Now you wanna put buildings in there that are gonna be higher. How high are they gonna go? Are they gonna go higher than the 2-story condos on on Dale Avenue? On 65 Dale Avenue? So that's our big concern, the runoff of the water in the brook down to the Hudson. The brick wall and the buildings in the back of those sheds that he showed you, they have pickup trucks in there right now, or the trucks, I don't know what they're called, that lift the dirt up, bigger trucks. They have huge trucks in there that they're not showing you. So they're not gonna go inside. So yes, it would be really nice not to see those open sheds with, all this. And when you walk in we have a lot of people in our neighborhood that have dogs and they walk on the street where the cemetery is. And when you get past their property, it's beautiful. Up to when you walk into the cemetery, so you get past their construction site, it's horrible. There's things in the brook, there's tubing, these big yellow pieces of tubing that they use. It just goes in the brook because it's too close to the brook. The brook has eroded. I know it. I've been living there 30 years. So I know what the brook looks like after each rainfall. So is there any way you can tell me that I can bring it back to the condo association, how high these so-called
I can tell you right now. it's in the
heights?
plan.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Well,
I would, I would,
2 feet.
you guys, I would like to just separate these issues right now. One of the issues is we're sitting here as a board of architectural review, so we're, the only thing that we can review on this is the appropriateness of the architectural design, so that even though there is a site plan for this project, that is not the purview of this board. There are, and I know Joe's on the call, and there's code enforcement and other, kind of outlets that the village has to I guess to control and to execute on those, on the site plan and on that zoning approval. The zoning was relevant to our review because I don't want to be sitting here reviewing a VAR that we're not allowed to review without any kind of variance if that were to be needed. I think that was really the issue that you heard us talking about a minute ago, which was understanding what, whether this is consistent with the original plan. And even in the zoning plan, I think one of the feedback that we got from kind of our professionals is that this is, they're not changing the size of it. They're paying the pitch.
Well, they're changing the size of
Yeah.
it because they're going up. And that's our
Yeah.
big concern.
Okay. And Joe, to that issue, I think that's a question, is there, from the height of these structures and, for this zone, are there variances that would be required for the height?
It's an accessory structure, has a maximum height amount, which I believe is, you can only go as high as 15 feet. But I don't believe what they're proposing is exceeding over 15 feet in height.
Do we have those elevation markers on the drawings?
Yes.
So
Right here on the left.
it looks like more than 2 feet to me.
Well,
The picture where it
no,
has
but-
the X's in the front.
but you
was-
have to read the way the code reads. It doesn't say to the ridge of the roof. It's kind of at the medium height. So
Well, would the ARB would be able to take a look, to consider heights, in the impacts, right?
So I guess that's another question, I guess, Joe, is if there's a way for them, because it sounds like the issue that the applicant has brought to us.
Well, there was restrictions when they.
No, I understand, sorry, so I'm trying to incorporate and understand your feedback, which is important, that's why we're having a hearing. I'm trying to articulate it just back to the group so we can kind of maybe make some progress on the conversation. But so my question simply is, and this stood out, Joe, to you as well, because you made a comment about why are you making the peak so much higher? Can the same restorative and drainage function be brought to these structures without increasing the height as much as they're increasing in your,
it can be accomplished with the height being reduced. You can still get if the intent is it is for the purpose of, stormwater control, because they have a flat roof, it can be accomplished. If they lower the roof down, they don't have to make it as high as they're proposing.
I don't know if any board members have any thoughts on this. I want to be responsive, but I also want to be reasonable, so.
Would it be helpful to see the Google view of 65 Dale, just to see how that looks in relationship to this property?
You mean to the height of the current.
I just want to see what
Yeah.
You're referring to in terms of what you see, but I don't know.
I did take pictures today, but I did send them to you guys.
Yeah,
They're on my
it can't
phone.
be, it can't be.
See, that's our property there where the flower pot is.
Okay,
Okay.
So it's a hilly that goes down. When you get down past the first light right there, then you look to the left and you see his property. It's all open back there.
It's this?
And that's where he put the
No,
fence.
it's way down there.
It's way down there. You see that? See that?
I don't know if you're gonna be able.
Can I go
I don't
there?
think you're gonna.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
maybe
Exactly.
just zoom out to Google, or, because now that
Yeah.
we've seen the ground
Yeah.
view, we can look at the aerial view and get a better sense. I know it's a little.
And where those two trees are right in the middle, that's our stairs to go down into our complex. And that's where the construction site, we can see the driveway, our driveway right there, the black driveway.
Yeah.
Another
Right
piece
there?
of property
There's the house in
between.
between.
There's
Can I-
another piece
can I-
of property.
Come up there for a minute.
I just, the problem is we can only see the pointer when Maddie controls it, so.
So what I'm highlighting now, it appears is the driveway of 65 Dale, right? And the garage buildings in question are somewhere here,
Yes.
Right there.
You
Right
can see
here.
the fence right there. You
There's
see
a
the
piece
fence
of
going
property in
across?
between.
See the
So
shadow.
there's a lot.
Yeah.
So when you're standing in our driveway and you look to the left, right where your arrow is,
Mhm.
that's where our cars are normally parked on both sides there. That's the fence that was
No.
added on back in 14 or
That's
13,
not the
whatever it
fence.
was. That is the top of your fence.
No, that's your fence.
Right,
Come down the
Sure.
black line. We didn't add a fence on your property.
right there.
So-
That's
That black
his fence.
line, now
The
the
Yeah.
fence up
bottom.
on top
There's
is
a shadow
our
line.
fence.
That's correct.
Got it.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to say, but you misunderstood me,
That's
sorry.
correct.
So we can see up over our fence, okay, into their property.
So what would you rather look at, that or a nice
Yeah.
room?
Alright,
All I'm
alright, guys, yeah, no, hey, guys,
I
I'm
think
sorry.
everyone's
I'm
gotta
sorry.
address.
I realize there's lots of
Okay.
voices in here, I'm trying to, trying to bring this into a conclusion here.
The bottom
so-
line is, thank you for listening, and our concern is the height of this structure going up and where the water's going.
Yeah, no, I heard it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Joe, just, so we talked about the height issue, I just want to bring this back to the board in a second. It was also brought up about a brook. Is there any wetlands permit that's required for this construction? I don't want to miss something in that department. Is this in a,
That's a possibility. I believe this was, I'd have to look back because this application was submitted, it was a couple of years ago, and then, I assumed that, they were not gonna go forward with this application, but then I think they decided to, come back with it again, so I'd have to actually go back and check and see if this is, I'm sure it'll go for a wetlands review, or it may have already gone for wetlands review. We had a response back, but normally when we get a building permit application, our staff, looks on the list, and if it's deemed as a property in the wetlands, it'll go for a review with Kellett Sessions to let us know what the impacts are.
okay, so that's what, and that's separate from the BAR process. Okay.
Yes.
I was trying to suss everything out here.
But if you feel that this-
We're not reviewing wetlands here, I just trying to ask them the question. And so then it just kind of comes down to the height issue. So I want to, I guess asking maybe, I don't know, Taryn, or between you and Valerie, just in terms of our role as a BAR, and obviously, size, scale, those are all relevant to a BAR review and specifically, neighbor impact. But it also sounds like from Joe that the height was evaluated and was determined to be in line with code. So I just want.
Well, I mean, there's code, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No,
No, you.
I just want to confirm that the height is code compliant, because their plans are showing 15 feet and 9.5 inches. But that's being measured to the absolute peak of the roof.
Right, so while I mean, I think in like other applications that you've looked at, I mean, clearly you see houses that are code compliant
Yeah.
all the time, right? So I think there's a difference between code compliancy and the, the charge of the ARB, which is, excessively similar, excessively dissimilar, so.
Right.
You could always ask the applicant, I mean, it's an architect, they could probably give you a better sense of like the views from, you know, maybe even just from the streets or see, you know what I mean, if you would like to get a
I
sense.
mean, maybe even like just like representationally, again, just thinking out loud here. Kind of showing like on the photographs, just representing what that scale would look like.
Showing it in context
Mhm.
would be
Yeah,
helpful.
would be helpful. These are, I mean, look, these are big garages to start with. And I think that like the applicant has made I think a very clear and common sense presentation that they want to improve the structures and improve the drainage. But you know, I think it's come up multiple times here, both from, Joe made a comment about it a minute ago. The neighbors made a comment that the height, the verticality is a concern. So I think understanding that in context, having a better sense of what that will look like, would be helpful for this board to make that evaluation and ensure that the impact on the neighborhood is kind of in line with, kind of what we would normally approve as a board.
One thing I want to, because it was brought up about wetlands. Jamie Kane was able to log in from her computer, and the wetlands review was done in 2023 when they submitted the application, and Kellett Sessions had determined that no wetlands permit was required for what they were proposing to do.
Thank you, Joe. That's helpful.
Not me.
That's Joe's on it. So just, before we, adjourn the public hearing, this, I know there's a lot just now. Any questions, thoughts, comments from the board?
No, I think seeing the drawings in context and the impact of the roof line would be helpful. And if it's possible to reduce the roof line and still accomplish the goal.
But isn't it better to have a little higher so she can't see down more? Now you're lowering it down.
Like
she
more
can see
coverage, maybe?
more
I
coverage.
think we're asking for a representation of how this will read, and
Okay.
which I think makes a lot of
Joe can make
sense.
that.
Anybody seen the difference in height? Guys?
That's one of the things that we're asking you to
Way up.
represent, is,
Yeah.
okay, and you, that's not, you have an opportunity to show that and kind of even, and I don't know if you guys can, if there's an opportunity for them to get on your driveway, take a photograph of their architect and show that.
Today,
Yeah, no, and
I
that's,
don't know how to get them to you.
So this is the
Somebody-
Jamie King
you can
at
help
the
me with
building
that?
department.
Or just plan at
Right.
Village of
They're
Austin.
from our driveway.
yes. And even the applicant can look at that, potentially use that type of imagery to show you and us and everybody kind of how this will affect you. All right, so you guys, we're running, what's that?
I was just gonna suggest this is a unique property, because you can see it from that cemetery street. so.
Yeah, and it's, this is a unique situation because it's a VAR, it's also a VAR and a existing non-conforming use, so I think we have to be sensitive to kind of all of that entails. All that, so I think, can I have a motion to adjourn the public hearing?
Excuse me,
Eric's not gonna make.
could I just say one thing? Really?
Well, you're part of the applicant group, so I'm gonna give you,
Yeah.
I would like to adjourn the public hearing and then I'll get a last thought and make sure that you guys understand what we're sending you back with.
I'll make the motion. To
And
adjourn the
second
public hearing.
motion.
Okay, so motion was made, sorry, by Eric, seconded by Holly. Any objections? There are none. So the public hearing is adjourned. So I just really quickly, so I think what we're asking is for some additional
Just for
representation.
the record,
Yeah,
okay, there were some accusations I have to clear up because I know this goes further. Okay, the hours of operation there do not start at 9 o'clock, specifically in the code. It's like 6 or 6:30. I don't have that. I used to have it
We have it. in our-
11 years ago, committed to memory. I don't have that right now. The operation has not increased at all. It is what it is. The tree trucks were there 14 years ago, 11 years ago. Everything is the same. We're only allowed to park one major triaxle there. That's all we own, and that's all that's there. So this is just for the record. I wanted a response. And that's it. I appreciate everything. Thank you for consideration, and let us know what we have to do next.
I think we've given you guys, I just want to make sure you guys understand the feedback that you got from our board in
Yeah, I
terms of
understand.
representation.
The concern here is the pitch of the roof. That's what that's what.
There's
the
two,
main-
well, I want to make sure
Yeah.
that there's two issues, there's two concepts that we want you to respond on.
Okay,
Number one is on the height of the building in general, and if there's any way to make it lower, that
well, I
might be
can make
helpful.
it flat the way it is.
But this board is sensitive to your request
Right.
to make a pitch. I don't think anyone's saying you can't do that. So
Right,
that,
okay.
but leads me to the second concept, the second area of feedback, which is a better way of representing what you're proposing, so we can have a sense of how that height and how that change will read on your scale. So some sort of a, I mean, it doesn't, you know, it can be a Photoshop rendering. You can talk to your architect in terms of how they can represent that, specifically how it will impact the adjacent neighbors and how they'll see it. That's what we're asking for.
Could we correspond with Joe, asking him how much of a reduction, would that be the?
Joe, yeah,
who we
Joe,
speak to?
Joe would be the point person for you on this.
Okay.
Okay,
And if Joe has questions, he's got access to all of us here, so.
and then what? We come back to you?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, you guys clear?
okay, we're not clear about, I'm clear about redoing the roof, maybe you wanna, but what about, what do you want me to show in rendering?
Why
I'm
don't you
not
have
sure.
your architect contact the planning department and we'll explain that to them.
A rendering from how it looks from there to here, is that,
We'll explain, why don't you have the architect contact us and we'll explain to them?
should they contact you? Val?
Yeah, have them contact the building, I mean, the planning department,
Okay,
and then we'll get them everything that they need. Okay.
thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I have a motion to adjourn that item?
Michael Aronson, motion to adjourn the item. Do we need a second? vote?
Any objections? None. Adjourned. Thank you guys very much.
All right.
Thanks for your patience this
Thank you.
evening. All right, so up next, we have BAR 2025. This is for 1300 Street. This is a request for BAR approval, legalizing the construction of a rear yard addition. So we have the applicant for 1300 Street here, either here or online. Okay, please come on up. And I think what we'll do is, Maddie, if you can share the drawings and photos. The photos here are probably, you put the drawings up, but the photos, yeah, I think are probably more descriptive. You have it now, we have both, you can just toggle between the two.
I'm trying. yeah.
Okay. And so if you can introduce yourself and just
My
let us
name is
know what.
Linda Griffin. My husband and I own that building. We purchased that building in, I believe, 2004. We never had any problems with that structure that was on the back. And the last year or so, we were fined, saying that was an illegal structure. There was never a permit, applied for or received. And I might say, I don't know, I can give you general knowledge in terms of the architectural plans. I'm very disappointed that my architect is not here because he was notified and I assumed he would be here.
It's this piece here, right? This.
Yes.
Okay.
As much as I know about the plans, most of the items that were in question were for repair. There was some information about the code in terms of the railings on going down the back of that structure. And the window on the side, for what he had there. I'm not an architect and I don't read plans, but I can give you that general knowledge of what's going on.
Sure, but so there were some repairs that were being made to ensure code compliance as part of this.
Yes.
Joe, I think maybe
Yeah.
Joe, you wanna explain, I think there's, I think it'd probably be good to
Yeah,
get.
Joe might be able to help us. I see Joe, you went off camera. Hopefully you're hear us.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you can maybe just help describe what changes are being made here so the board can make an informed decision.
It's basically was a legalization of that structure in the back there, the one that you see that's kind of almost like propped up on some posts.
Mhm.
That was constructed and they're legalizing that construction.
Right, and as far as the stairs and railings, if there's work that's being proposed to ensure code compliance with that as well?
Well, those railings on what you're seeing over there, those are part of like landscaping. It's not like the railings for our deck or staircases.
Okay. That's not.
So there's no real regulations on that.
So right now, I think
We
the
can go ahead
applicant,
and-
I think the applicant is not proposing. Basically, what you're seeing is what the applicant is proposing. And so this is here for ARB and,
Yeah, no, I
have-
understand, but the elevations do show railings and stairs, which normally we would be reviewing. I just
Right.
want to make sure that we understand what those materials are, that we're not. They're illustrated here, right? They're showing.
Well, the structure is built, so they have pictures they provided of that staircase.
Got it.
Right, so that's what I was saying, you
Got
as the ARB can, like, they're proposing to keep exactly what
What's
you
there.
see in those
Got it.
photos, but you have the ability to have that broader discussion of excessive similarity.
Got it. No, I understood. So, and then I think the only other part of this is just for the record, there was a variance that was granted from zoning.
Yes.
Yes, a side yard
Yes.
variance back in September.
Okay. So I guess for our board, what you see is what we would be approving, which is siding, a new window for this addition in the back of the house.
Yeah.
So I'll just open this up to the board with any thoughts or questions.
I mean, I just want to understand, are there already those stairs that we saw in the drawing exist somewhere, but we just don't see them in the photo?
It's there.
It's it,
Covered
yeah.
up by.
It's a concrete stair.
A concrete stair.
So it is exactly as shown.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, let me correct that. I couldn't see from this photo that those were the stairs coming down, so there will be they will have to make some modifications and all from like with the plans that to put up the guardrails and stuff there.
So a new railing on the existing stair. That's
Yeah,
that's what.
I mean, that you're seeing there is not compliant, so I'm sure on what's shown on the plans is what they're gonna have to install.
So let's just go to those plans really quickly. Yeah, those are the stairs. It's a concrete stair.
Yes.
And I think the issue is that what Joe's describing is what is shown on the drawings. That's why I was asking the question. No, it's even shown on the elevation drawing, Maddie. Yeah, that drawing right there. So it is showing existing concrete steps remain, which I think is very clear. And it says existing. This is where I'm losing it a little bit in terms of clarity. I don't know if we can zoom in on that or if there's. Right, it's just showing an existing railing, I guess, that's.
It says provides wrought iron railing.
Okay.
Right
Got
there.
it, so
That's
it's a
it.
wrought iron railing, so the existing steel tube railing would be replaced with a wrought iron railing.
Yeah.
Right, that's correct.
Okay. So everything in the photograph is the same, the only thing that's different is that railing would be, that you see there, that's tube steel would be replaced with a code compliant wrought iron palisade railing.
And that door is already existing? is that
Yes, it
correct?
is.
Okay.
Okay, and, okay,
Oh, I see.
yeah, this, I think now makes sense. And all the materials, it looks like they were installed contemporarily with everything else in the house, so it matches. So, any other questions from the board on this?
Yeah, and the only thing is on the
Yeah.
photos with the flashing, and if you go up to the photos again, there's some like, I don't know if you want them to like.
Repair
Complete a project.
just the exposed wood framing on the underside?
I mean, I'm just,
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
you have
that's
the-
what you're pointing out. too. I hear you. I mean. Now I'm lost. Here we are. So there's like a post and lintel structure, I guess, on the underside there. Is that what that is? That's supporting the backside of the house. Just painting that white maybe. To match the rest of the house, match the rest of the siding. I mean, board.
I mean, some of the siding looks a little damaged on the side there.
Yeah, it's the siding looks like it's pulled off a little bit, make just repairs to the damaged siding.
And then that's a door.
This is the way.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
the door there. The stair leads, right, that's what we were looking at before, was the stair that leads up to that door. That's almost the view of that elevation that we were seeing a minute ago.
This structure was already
It was there
existing
when
when
we
you
purchased
purchased the
building.
house.
Yes. solve a lot of those problems, I think.
Yeah.
They're going there.
Okay.
On the side.
Repair the siding, paint the exposed wood structural elements. Any other conditions that we've discussed? We still have to open the public hearing on this. I just want to make sure we have that all laid out. Can I have a motion to open the public hearing?
Every time I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
Holly Thurston, second motion.
Objections? We're now in a public hearing. Is there anybody here to speak to this application? You don't see anybody. Is there anybody on Zoom? You can use the hand raise function if you'd like to speak to this application. I don't see anybody there. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Michael Aaron's a motion to close the public hearing.
Holly be a second motion.
All right, any objections to that? There are none. All right, so I think we've listed out effectively two conditions of approval. So beyond those, anything else that anybody on the board wants to say? Any questions that we didn't ask from the staff that we should have? No. Okay, can I have a motion to approve the application with conditions?
Michael Aaron's a motion to approve the application with conditions as discussed.
Holly be a second motion.
We'll do a roll call.
Okay, Eric Talbot,
Aye.
Michael Aronson,
Aye.
Carla Elliott,
Aye.
Holly Thurston, and Chair Roy.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank
So I guess you'll hear from Joe in terms of next steps, because this is our approval. I don't know if there's other items that are pending in terms of your permit.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, so next up on the agenda is a planning board 08/2025 for 217 Main Street. And this is a request for conditional use to convert office space into 2 residential dwellings. It is also a request for payment in lieu of parking, which was not granted by this board, but would be a referral to the Board of Trustees. So the applicant can come on up, introduce yourself, and just kind of give us a description of the proposed project, and we'll have a conversation.
Hi, good evening. I'm Jim Gibbons with Gibbons Engineering. Just wanted to share with you the scope of the work. So we have the Midas Building over at 217 Main Street. It's essentially a commercial building, and we're focusing on the second floor. The second floor is the top floor, if you look at the middle elevation picture on that slide there. So that's the area of work. We're not planning to do any kind of interior alterations, but we are taking approximately 3 or 4 offices with 2 conference rooms upstairs, which is essentially 2 office type areas, and then to convert that into 2 apartments. We don't want to touch the outside of the building. You can see the existing conditions more or less on S2, which is there. And the conference rooms are in the middle of the area that's shown on the map. If we go down to S3 or maybe S4, if we go down another one. Yeah, so we have the residential conversion here. And on S4, we show an apartment in the front and an apartment in the back. And we've worked with the building department very closely to make sure we have the appropriate fire separations, the life safety systems of a sprinkler system and fire alarm system. And we've worked very hard to not change the windows and the exterior at all. So that's the project in essence. And we come before the board to get a conditional use approval, and also to ask if we could get a parking, pay for parking in lieu of actually having the parking. And we need 3 spaces to achieve our goals for this this project here.
Okay, so just, I guess, a couple of baseline questions. So this district, the residential is a, I guess, an allowable conditional use on the second floor of the building, right? So no other changes on any other floors of the building, just the top floor?
Yeah, just everything is focused on the top floor. The first floor is Maria De Silva's business that she's been using for years now, and then there's an existing basement that you can access from the side of the structure.
What's in the basement?
It's more or less like a
Thrift shop, isn't it?
just a thrift shop kind of,
It's
just
another retail use.
retail use, yes, essentially.
Okay, and in terms of parking, what's the change in the existing parking requirements? When you change to from office to residential, is that the net 3? Or is that? If you were applying for parking for just for a office space with these same square footage.
I believe the office space is a more stringent requirement. I think the residential was less in this case, but we have a building where there's existing uses and there's absolutely no parking. So I think the ruling, after all was discussed, is just 3 spots would be required in lieu of what was there.
How big are the units?
The unit, one is I think 900 square feet, and the other is closer to 750. If we go to S4, we have those numbers on the chart up on the top over towards the left.
I believe that you provided a calculation because I asked the question of the difference in parking impact, and I believe the way that in that district in the village center, the parking is based on the number of the size of the apartment bedrooms. I believe the actual number was a little bit less than the way it was used currently.
All right, I mean, just kind of thoughts or questions, just both either conditional use related or related to the parking.
I just want to understand, I mean, there's the sort of basement level, so that's what I would call like a second floor, that's entirely the business, so the residential is on the third, I mean, I know it's the second floor.
Yeah.
And that entire floor will be dedicated to residential use, there won't be any office or commercial use.
So absolutely no offices, just 2 apartments. And they're basically divided in the middle of the building with the firewall.
And the access is through the front of the building or?
The front of the building, which is a separate stairwell up to the residential units. So from 9A, you go up a flight and you're at the apartments. If you turn coming into the foyer, you just come into the building from 9A, you enter into the I guess you would call it the second floor office space, which I'll call it street level on the front, just to be clear.
I mean, I guess in terms of the parking issue, I mean, there are starting to be a lot of demands for parking in this little strip with some new businesses. A little further down on Main Street, the project that's proposed, the new construction project. I mean, is there any sense of, I mean, 2 apartments, 2 cars could possibly be associated with that? I don't feel like the parking is a huge issue, but I kind of want to be cognizant of the fact that there does seem to be a lot of demand for parking in the, right now, and the new parking garage is not built yet, so, sort of something.
Yeah, I mean, I look at this as an existing building. Using it. Bring it back to use and occupying those upper floors.
And I think if I might, that was sort of the aim of the payment of the parking program, which, this board has heard, a little bit about. But basically for buildings very much like this, that basically, it's adaptive reuse to some degree. In neighborhoods where actually creating new parking would not necessarily be possible.
And we as a planning board don't grant payment in lieu.
Right.
This would be just whether or not we're gonna refer this to the Board of Trustees for payment in lieu. And actually, I guess the corollary question I have related to that is, can we approve for conditional use prior to the payment in lieu? Or is there any order of operations there that we need to attend to?
Good question.
No, you have to do it, you have to recommend it once you consider the application complete. And then.
It looks like they have to come back.
Okay,
I'm looking at the language and it talks about if the board of trustees approves the payment in the parking, then the applicant can proceed with the rest of the application.
the rest of
Thank
the
you.
application here is.
Thank
Good job, Darren. All right, that makes sense. I mean, based on kind of what we were looking at, so, I guess, can we have a motion to open the public hearing on the application?
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
Holly first asked for the motion.
Any objections? I hear none. We're now in a public hearing. Is there anybody in this room to speak to this application? All right, so you can come on up, you can introduce yourself and, name, place of residence, and we'll, let us know what your thoughts are.
Hi, Ahmad Shalaby, 209-211 Main Street. My question or concern would be with the HVAC. Do they plan to put the condenser units on the roof or on the side? Because currently they have, 3 condenser units on the side. One is being used and it's over the property line. The other 2 are just tossed to the side, attracting weeds and pests and whatever. The other thing is they have some kind of drain for their upstairs HVAC that shoots water like 8 to 10 feet off of the property onto ours. Not consistently, but every time it fills up, it shoots and then it waits till it fills up and then shoots it out again. So I would just hope that they have proper drainage for it.
And Joe, that's something I suppose you could address in terms of just the plan review, and in terms of any HVAC component to the residential design. I don't think that speaks specifically to conditional use, but it's part of the renovation to make it residential, I would imagine.
But the question is regarding exactly what? I couldn't.
I mean, I think that there's concerns about the current HVAC equipment. And as part of a, if the use is being changed from residential, we can ask this of the applicant as well, is there a change in the HVAC system? And ensuring that it's code compliant and not, per code
Right.
draining over the lot line.
Right. Well, if they want, whatever they propose to install, if they're gonna change any of that, if that's the intention, then we'll have to see how they're gonna handle, all of that with draining and so forth. I mean, right now, they didn't give me any proposal to do any change to what's on the roof there now, unless the applicant's gonna be doing that. I mean, there's other methods to be able to provide, systems like that. The people do heat pumps and stuff where they're electric. They don't need to necessarily have an HVAC system with ductwork. So I don't know what they're proposing to do.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anybody else here who would like to speak to this application? Is there anybody on Zoom who would like to speak to the application? You can use the hand raise function. I don't see anybody. Can I have a motion to adjourn the public hearing? Oh, I do see a hand. I'm sorry, I spoke too soon.
Oh, no, it's Maria, yes, okay. Maria's part of this application, right?
Maria De Silva is
The owner of the building.
owner of the building.
Okay.
Okay.
We can bring Maria in. I think as the owner of the building and the applicant, I think should speak regardless of whether or not we're in a public hearing. As part of the applicant team, but we'll just hold the public hearing open for a moment. We can bring Maria in. And Maria, you are here. If you could unmute yourself, if able to be on camera, that's preferable. But you are here and muted. And you. Okay. So. Ms. De Silva, are you gonna, did you want to say anything? You are in our meeting right now. All right, while she's trying to figure out how to unmute or if she doesn't want to speak, that's fine too. Can I have a motion to adjourn the public hearing?
Michael Aronson, motion to adjourn the public hearing.
Olivia, second motion.
Okay, any objections to that? That carries. All right, the public hearing is adjourned for the moment, but you're as part of the applicant team. We just want to make sure if you had any response to the public comment, It sounded like maybe that's what you wanted to do. We can hear you.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, hi.
hi. Our intention is to put the air conditioning system on the roof. And we're gonna actually, like Joe had explained, use a method that we don't have to, with the new system, that we're gonna put a unit that's gonna be AC and heat electrical, so that's not gonna be an issue.
Okay, great. That's helpful. Thank you for that comment. All right, so I guess as a board, though, our action tonight would be making a referral if we're comfortable of payment in lieu to the Board of Trustees. So I think, I think Maddie articulated the intent a moment ago in terms of adaptive reuse, existing building. And I think that the applicant also articulated that the current use is more, per code parking intensive than the proposed use. So I personally have no objection to that. I think it would make sense. Any other thoughts on that, or can we have a motion then to refer the part of payment in lieu to the Board of Trustees? 3 spots.
First, I make the motion to propose referring it to the payment of the parking to Board of Trustees. There's one. Michael Aronson, I second the motion.
All right, any objections in this group for that referral? There are none, so that carries. So now we'll have to wait to hear back from the Board of Trustees. If that's granted, then we can come back and finalize our review of the conditional use.
Be glad to. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you. I have a motion to adjourn this agenda item.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Any objections? None. All right, we're good. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
very much.
All right.
Thanks,
Moving right along.
Maria.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you.
Okay, so next up we have Planning Board 09/2025. This is for 8189 South Highland. And this is the applicant in this case is reapplying for a wetlands and tree root for both wetlands and tree removal permits associated with the development of 5 previously approved multifamily residential townhouse units. So I think we have the applicant here. So if you can kind of introduce yourself, give us an update of this now new application.
Absolutely. For the record, my name is Daniel Patrick from the law firm Cuddy and Fader on behalf of the applicant. I'm joined this evening by 2 representatives of the applicant, Randy Vargas and Jason Frias. So as indicated, we are here requesting reapproval of the wetland permit as well as the tree removal permit. It's related to the Birchbrook Manor redevelopment project that was approved 5 years ago now. It's the construction of 5 townhouse style units on the eastern portion of the Birchbrook Manor site. So the applicant purchased, or just by way of background, the applicant purchased the site 2 years ago, a little bit less than 2 years ago, back in December 2023. The prior owners went through the whole entitlements process and got the approvals. Since the current owner purchased it, they completed the subdivision process. They subdivided off the eastern portion of the lot. They completed that last November, so November 2024. Since then, they have been actively marketing the site and the undeveloped portion that was newly created. They are in contract to sell that lot to a new entity who will build the project. They're anticipating pulling the permits to actually construct the building. The rub or the kind of predicament we're in right now is, we understand that this board wants to see action towards a building permit. The client or the applicant's looking to sell the lot. The purchasers require full entitlements of the project prior to closing. They're hoping to close by the end of this year so they can start the process early next year to actually get shovels in the ground. But as of right now, we have an expired tree permit approval as well as, I believe, expired wetland, if not expiring today or tomorrow. So we are requesting reapproval. There is no changes to the proposed project or no changes to the wetland mitigation plan. There's no changes to the tree removal plan or the replanting plan. We're really just looking for reapproval of the prior permits that were previously approved and reapproved and extended and so on and so on. So
And reapproval is based, Taryn, I'll direct this towards you, just based on the way that the wetlands law, wetlands and tree permit laws are written, that after a certain X number of extensions, they need to be reheard.
Right.
Okay. So we've reached that threshold with both of these permits. Okay. in terms of from the last time, I guess, a couple questions. I mean, since, I don't know if I'm gonna direct this here or there, but I'll kind of look in both directions and either of you can step in, but, you know, in terms of the, you know, the wetlands law in the village, I know that it was originally adopted just, after this particular application, you know, during the application process of this, the prior owner. So have there been any changes, or what's the status of that law relative to when this was originally approved?
So I'll answer and she can chime in and amend whatever I'm about to say, but, so we received the original site plan approval back in 2020. The wetlands regulations, the village wetland regulations were adopted later that year in 2020, I believe. We came back when we were going through the final subdivision process. So back in 2021, in 2020, we only got the preliminary subdivision. So we had gotten approval under the new wetlands regulations along with the final subdivision. So we had been reviewed previously under the village's new wetland regulations. I'm not aware of any changes to the regulations since then, but there's been no changes to the mitigation plan. It was pretty extensively reviewed at that time, so.
We're also talking about a tree permit, right?
Right. Right, so this will require referral to the EAC, just for them to chime in on this. But again, there's been no changes, and just for the board's benefit, you did do an environmental review on this application back, I think, 2020, and you did adopt a negative declaration.
Right.
There's been no changes, so that still stands.
Okay.
Are there any implications from the updated tree preservation legislation? Because that was just updated earlier this year.
Yes, and the applicant did provide, so before the resubmission, we told them that
Okay.
the tree law was updated, and they did provide information that that they meet the replacement requirements, but then again, the EAC will be reviewing that as well.
So the EAC, and I know there's a referral process for wetlands, but also for tree removal, correct? So it would be for both. Got it. So, any questions, comments from the board? I think it's important to, you know, I know there was a public hearing. I think there was some, you know, the village just received some just feedback on the applications, part of the reason for it being reheard, and renoticed. So can I have a motion to open the public hearing on the application?
Michael Aronson, motion to open the public hearing.
I don't need a second motion.
All right, is there anybody here who would like to speak to this application to open the public? Don't see anybody in the room. Is there anybody on Zoom who would like to speak to this application? I don't see anybody on Zoom. You can use the hand raise function if you would like to. Nope, okay. I think just, you know, for the public record, there is some feedback which will be posted on the agenda, so I just encourage anybody to go back and take a look at that. And I encourage the applicant to look at that as well. But I think, can I have a motion to adjourn the public hearing?
Eric Salva to make a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
Okay, so I guess then can we make have a motion for a referral to the EAC to review both the tree removal and wetlands applications?
Eric Salva, I make a motion to the EAC to review the tree permit and the wetland application.
Second.
Yes, second motion.
All right. Any objections to that referral? Heard that referral is now pushed forward. So I guess staff, are there any other action items or questions that we should be
No.
discussing at this point? So we'll put this in the hands of the environmental advisory board for additional feedback, thought, and so we can finalize our deliberations after that. All right, so any questions?
No, that works. I think there's a question for Manny probably, but EAC meets next week. Do you think this will be heard by them?
Yeah, I
then,
just
or-
texted Jamie to see if, I don't know if we can get it on or not.
yeah.
I think
I
we
know
might
the
be
board-
able
I know
to.
that-
Candidly, it's a maybe,
Okay.
because we have a pretty small group, these days also, and I think we're already. I think we have an agenda already in place, so I'll have to say, yeah.
Or we can be in touch tomorrow, figure it out.
All right.
All right.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to adjourn the item?
Michael Aronson, motion to adjourn.
Yes, second motion.
Any objections? None. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Right.
Because I think.
Okay. All right, guys, we're gonna move on. Next up on the agenda, we're moving on to continuing business at this point. We have BAR 19/2025. This is for 12 Willow Street. This is exterior renovations to a house and detached garage. Originally submitted in August. I think we looked at this last meeting. Do we not have the applicant? Do we have the applicant for 12 Willow here? We have the applicant for 12 Willow on Zoom. We do not. Okay, so we are going to table that. I will try to put a note for myself to revisit A at the end. And then we are gonna move on to 34 State Street then. So I guess, we have the 34 State team can come on up. I think maybe just by way of, you guys can give us kind of an update with where you are, and then I'll probably turn it over to Valerie and let you kind of talk, and Tony as well. So, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Annie Klein. I'm an associate at Del Valle, Denellen, Weingart, and Wise and Whitaker. I'm here tonight on behalf of WB 34 State Street LLC. With me are representatives from the applicant and our architect. So since we last met with you, we did resubmit materials and responses to comments from village professional staff. We have also met with the fire department and received additional memos from village professional staff, which we are in the process of revising our plans and responding to comments. We expect to submit next week for the November 6th deadline. We also made a submission to the Historic Preservation Commission, and we are also expecting to meet with the EAC next week. So basically still working through some things, but I think what we would respectfully request tonight is a decision on the view corridor, so that we can finalize the variances we need for the zoning board, and also be referred to the zoning board and be able to make that application. And we're here to answer any additional questions that you have.
Can we maybe look at maybe we can start off with the view corridors. I know we spent a lot of time in that last meeting, so if we can, and we'd ask for some additional information. If we can put that up, we can kind of have that conversation, then we can move along to some of the other questions.
Should we be looking at the view corridor study or the updated, the renderings elevations?
Yeah, that one, Maddie.
That one?
And you wouldn't mind going to sheet G007? You like two more? Sorry, gonna stress that. Yeah, that one though. Yeah, sure. Just for the record, Michael Bevavino, architect on project architecture. Maddie, if you wouldn't mind scrolling up to the diagram.
Oh, sure.
Let's start with maybe the frontage calculations. So the way the zoning code reads is that the frontage is measured as a percentage substantially parallel with the Hudson River. So we drew a line, parallel with the river's edge and took our measurements from there. The first criteria, which is like the total cumulative width of the project, is allowed to be 50%. When you measure it on that angle, you're also allowed to subtract, for the village code, historic significant structures. So the two portions of the building that are contributing to the cumulative width add up to only 282 feet, which is 48% of the lot width. So on that criteria, we comply. Maximum building width, looking at the longer of the two legs, we're not compliant in terms of frontage. And in terms of view corridor, the board is permitted to consider compliance with the total view corridor as the sum of all of the open areas, as opposed to one single open area. So the requirement is 30%. If you're looking at it as just a single view corridor, we don't have a an area that equals 30, but the total view corridor equals 52%. So if you add up the segments on sort of the north and south sides of the development and then also subtract the Smith Robinson house, we get to 52.
And what's the percentage of that southern end of the sites? Which is the largest, that's the largest,
23%.
23, so that's 7% short of
Yeah.
the 30.
Correct.
But if you add into that the Swift Robinson, then that's what pushes you up to the 52.
Correct.
And I think just reminding the board, I think we looked last time at the studies where, I mean, this is the code prescription, which is based on the perpendicular, or the parallel line of the river. But I think that the real viewport that's impacted by the site is the view down State Street, sorry, down
Broad.
it is Broad Avenue. Which was all the studies that they looked at before, and which currently is effectively dominated by the historic house. So I mean, I think this is helpful. I think what we were looking for last time was just to kind of quantify if we're going to be saying that this is if we're not that we would be waiving that requirement, that based on it, 23 to 30, that's the bottom line number. They're providing 23, but because this project centers around the historic property and historic house, I think that they've demonstrated that the actual viewport from the public rights of way are not impacted. To me, this was a helpful exercise. So, so I think that's now. Is that something we need to make is there not a resolution that goes along with that, or how is this memorialized?
I mean,
I don't think you have to take a formal vote on this.
no, but I think we just want to be able to, we want to have the applicant, when they go to the ZBA and they get their variances, that they don't come back and then this board says we're not going to,
Right.
have a different position on this.
And this would, I guess, be ultimately part of the site plan then.
Yes.
So this would be, right, okay, that makes sense. I think maybe we could talk a little bit about, and Valerie, I know you between both you and Tony, just kind of going through kind of your updates. I know that the back and forth that related to the fire department access and all of those items have been, I guess, hinted at so far. Is there anything that we need to discuss or talk about on those fronts right now?
So why don't I have it tuned to you on
Yeah.
the engineering, and then I'll go through like the other different agencies, like more of the approval process and
Okay.
seeker.
Yeah, because I know Seeking's a big part of all
Yeah.
this.
So the applicant did meet the fire department with the fire department last week. They got feedback. There's some changes, some accesses that they have to work through, provide for them. The other item, I'll just note, we have a traffic study review done now. And one of the things we had noted, and we didn't really discuss this with the traffic consultant, so he came up with that on his own as well. The driveway's off of, was it James Street? He had some concerns with, I guess, the double way on both those driveways, and he supplied some sketches of potential.
Yeah. So Jim Lundling from WBP is here. I believe we had conversations
Hi,
with.
Jim Wendling, WBP. We did speak with Pete. We just wanted to understand a few of the comments in the plan.
Okay.
It was myself and Rich Williams was on the phone. Rich Williams is studying what he asked us to look at, so we are responding to that as well.
Okay, great. And then the sightlines, I think there was some sightline things.
All the items we went through with.
Okay, great.
Yep.
We still need to work through some of the offsite improvements. We haven't seen plans yet. I think you guys are progressing with that as well. I don't know, have you engaged the health department on any of the utilities?
We have not yet.
You haven't yet. And I know there was also discussion with the fire department about water mains. I'm sure that's all getting addressed as well. They want some hydrants. That's sidelines. Yeah, and the other thing we really want to see is we want to see more detailed plan of the dimensions in the parking lot to make sure they comply with columns. I thought there was only two. I think in the garage levels, there was only like one dimension showing the space.
Yeah, I mean, we added a whole bunch more dimensions to this plan. Every space is drawn at 10 feet right now.
Yeah.
With the assumption that we'll have structure and columns in there and still have plenty of room for laying out, the parking spaces. I know we can go down to 9'6" So
Okay.
we have more than enough room for the structure to support that garage.
All right, no, that's good. We just want to see that before, you finalize with the columns on it, stuff. I know you're still working through some things. And other things we'll work through, the SWIPs seem to be in good shape. We'll continue to review that. If this plan changes, driveway changes, I don't want to get too deep into the stormwater component of it this early in the project, so. Those are my main concerns.
Great. And now, Deborah.
Okay, so why don't we just talk about the couple of things that have been updated since last time. The special permit, as part of like the density bonuses, the applicant officially confirmed that they are going to be putting forth the historic preservation as one of the components for, for the density bonus, as well as brownfields remediation. So those are the two, amenities that they're providing the village as part of that. The additional items in terms of like amenities on site is going to be related to recreation, and instead of paying for a fee in lieu of recreation, they're proposing to have the Breakneck Hill, as well as public parking, and then also working out, and maybe you can describe it a little bit more, but in terms of signage and stuff during near that park that was historically African-American neighborhood park. So those are the components that they're kind of proposing for in lieu of providing parkland. So that's something that this board would also review as part of the overall site plan approval process.
What's the Breakneck Hill? I mean, I know.
So, right, so this is where you can talk a little, if you
We
wanna
have a
talk.
plan that shows it, where we
I'll
have.
submit it the next.
Yeah, so that hasn't been fully submitted yet, but that's so I think the next meeting, maybe just, right.
Yeah, regrading, stormwater improvements, lighting, I think it's important to the community, important to the surrounding neighborhood. We have met with village staff about it, so yes.
And then the parking would be on the downhill side of Breakneck Hill where we were looking. Yeah, okay.
As Valerie said, regrading, adding parking, and doing some kind of memorial wall in memory of the former use of that space. We're meeting with some of the surrounding neighbors to talk through that, and that's why you haven't seen the plan. We wanted to have that evolve a little bit more, but we're working through that in this progress.
So we also sent this out for county referral. So the county did respond, and I think it would be helpful if maybe the applicant just provides a written response to some of the county's comments, because I think some of them are going to be incorporated, and some of them I think, and that just came today. So you probably just got.
I got it this morning, yes, and when we do our submission for next Thursday, we'll go through, like we did our previous submission, go through each comment, response, and we'll include the county in that.
So then, the next two are the Board of Architectural Review and HPC. So we did reach out to the Historic Preservation Commission. They are available. You do have a quorum for having them come next meeting. So next meeting, I think, will be a big conversation probably about the architecture of the building and the Smith Robinson House. And I think the applicant has noted that you're going to be providing more detailed architecture drawings.
Yeah, we submitted a pretty detailed package to HPC.
Right, for the Smith
Yes, for the
Robin,
for the
but
balance of the
then,
building.
but then I think for the actual building itself,
for
you
materials
said
and-
you were gonna provide
Okay.
more, and I think
Yeah.
that's gonna be, I'm assuming that the HPC is gonna wanna see how everything balances again, and so will this board.
Yeah, that's the reason for us all kind of coming together and meeting. So the more we have prior to that joint meeting, the more productive that meeting will be.
I'm gonna need a truck to bring all the samples.
One of the things I wanted to add is when we had the discussion with the fire chiefs, we had some significant concerns about access to the buildings. So we discussed about the building in the back. There's very little access to the fire department to reach any portion of that building. You don't get anything in the back, and it's basically getting half of one side. We also said the other building that faces the Ossining Children's Center along that entire side, there's such a steep slope in there that they couldn't set up and access any fire rescue there as well. So We asked them to look into some provisions of what can be done to create additional access, some of it being some type of grass pavers or something where they can drive on, to be able to get additional access. And, also at the building in the back, I had told them that you're gonna have to look at, because you do get some credits by the state code for, sprinkling the building and so forth about access. But they only give you certain provisions that they have to do some of their math, that the size of the building, the square footage for each floor only gives you so much credit. So they're gonna have to do some work, to see the fact that you're not gonna get access for rescue on maybe 3 sides of those building. What's the actual size that the code will allow you to build of the size of that building based on not providing access to all 4 sides?
Yeah,
So
where-
they're going to, when we spoke to them, they said they were gonna do some, research on that and look on that and see how that affects the site plan.
Got it. Okay, in terms of, I know that we've talked a little bit about the secret process here, and I know there's been now a draft.
Yes.
So, I mean, I don't know if we want to get a little deeper into the site plan at this point, with all these different items, traffic, fire department, kind of have that round of development before we finalize anything around the secret
Right.
termination.
Right, so what I thought we could do is a little bit of an exercise tonight is identify any outstanding information that you would like to see, or more information that you would like to see, so that they can provide a narrative of how what they're proposing would impact or not impact those particular environmental topic areas.
Okay.
So, and some of this can be, cause clearly community services are part of, something that gets looked at at seeker. So if you are concerned with like the fire department getting that final, you know what I mean? So those are the types of things that we can kind of walk through. We have, and I provided everybody a part 2 EAF, so maybe we just kind of,
We put that maybe up on the screen.
and I did speak with the applicant's seeker planner who's working on the part 3. And they're gonna be provided in narrative form responses to like pretty much a number of the items that are identified as moderate to large impacts, but then I'm also gonna be following up with them with any other additional items that this board would like, information on.
Okay.
So, I mean, just to start off with.
So, I'm sorry, Valerie,
Is that, I don't know if it's, is it?
Oh, it's in my
Yeah,
memo.
okay, just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, at the very end. Keep scrolling. There, right there. Alright. So, just on impacts on land. I mean, I specifically highlighted or just wanted or recommended having as part of a narrative information on, the stabilization of the steep slopes, information on the proposed retaining walls, heights, method of erosion and sediment control and stormwater management. I know that there's a SWIP, but it would be good to have it in narrative form, I think, for this board and also for the public, reading through technical documents, sometimes a little bit challenging.
What, no one wants to read it?
Right. So
Well, we have to,
acknowledging that it was in, but just a little bit more in a narrative form. And then also construction impacts, including like phasing, staging, duration, construction, truck traffic, noise and dust related to construction impacts.
Right.
So I don't know if there's anything else in terms of impact on land, but the impact on land component of the seeker is really focused on excavation, construction, those types of elements.
We often talk about just having a construction mitigation plan, how
Yeah.
this will impact on the neighborhood will be minimized. I know there's a lot on the other side of, again, I'm trying to think of the street that runs parallel, on the corner, parallel to State Street there, but
Like James Street.
on Jane Street, yeah.
Then the next component is geological features. I said no on that because it's really focused on very specific landmarks or geological landmarks. Impacts on surface water, I put no because noting that there's no water body, streams or wetlands are found on site. There are components dealing with stormwater later on, but I figured I focused more on that further on. Impacts on groundwater, I said no, because they're not promoting any new water supply wells, there's no aquifers, so none of those related to specifically to groundwater or groundwater recharge, or no major bulk storage of petroleum or chemical products are being proposed. Impacts on flooding, I said no to that because no 100-year floodplain, 500-year floodplain. While there will be a change in it'll be a change in existing like drainage patterns, I think that's being taken care of from the SWIP.
Yeah, you had an existing site that didn't have drainage and now you're getting treatment.
Right.
So the next is impacts on air. I also said no to that because this is going to be residential. And if you look at the details of the EAF part 2, it specifically is really referring to something that's going to really generate a lot of pollution as opposed to like residential. Impacts on plants and animals. I also said no to this because first of all, the site itself isn't really a major natural habitat, but there is, in terms of actually on site, there's no threatened or endangered species or rare or endangered species habitats. While the EAF did note a couple, they're really referring to the ones in the Hudson River, and this is not contiguous or located in the Hudson River. Then the next is specifically dealing with agricultural resources, said no to that as well.
Right, on behind. Yep.
Sorry. Then you can go to the next one. Impact on aesthetics. Okay, so this one I did start noting on a few, and this really deals with I think what we were talking about with the view corridors. I understand that they've submitted additional information. I just suggested that as part of the overall narrative that they could talk a little bit about why it's not going to affect some of those natural resources and the views and stuff like that. And then also for historic and archaeological resources, I did say yes, and I think it's again self-explanatory, what we're dealing with Smith Robinson House, and I think just again, narrative on that, acknowledging what they're proposing to do, I think would be helpful. And then important space and open space and recreation, I said no, specifically because this isn't identified in any particular area as being open space or for recreation. So that's why I said no for this. And then the critical environmental area, I have no, because it's not designated as one. Impact on transportation, again, this is, the board can always decide, but I said no for this in terms of, because this is specifically asking whether the proposed traffic increase may exceed capacity of existing road network, which is no. Proposed action may result in construction of paved parking area for 500 or more vehicles, no. Proposed action will degrade existing transit access, no. The proposed action will degrade existing pedestrian or bicycle accommodations, no. And then the proposed action may alter the present pattern of movement of people or goods. And for the most part,
Where are we with the traffic study process here? Because I think that would be.
Right,
Yeah.
that, good.
Yeah, we did receive a comment memo from college, so they did go through Kenway Horns, the whole traffic study, they provided comments. I think that's.
So a response to
The one I
those.
said, we spoke to
Yeah.
the traffic engineer, we're working on a response.
So that response would be an additional item.
Exactly. So for this, I put no in terms of like, is it gonna be a moderate to large impact, right? And is it really, but we are asking for additional traffic information. And then impact on energy, again, it's normal residential. So I said no.
What is the planned, just energy, kind of HVAC cooling, is that not developed yet?
Not there yet, not there.
It would be good to have, again, just talking about.
Additional information.
Yeah, what
yeah.
is it? Yeah.
Even conceptually, kind of where they are with that design and what that will be.
Okay. And then impact on noise, odor, and light. I had yes here for, the noise levels. This would be probably during construction. And then, but we already asked for that. And then the blasting, I wasn't sure if there would potentially be blasting. But there is, it is within 1,500 feet of a hospital, excuse me, in a daycare center. So this is something that the applicant could just
We've done our
respond
due
to.
diligence to date. We don't expect any blasting.
Okay. So perfect. And then the proposed action may result in light shining onto adjoining properties, clearly,
We need to
it's,
see, yeah.
right,
Yeah.
so,
They did provide a lighting plan, it doesn't appear any light, it's just photo.
right. And then, last is, impacts on human health, and this really focuses on the remediation aspects of the site. So just asking for additional information on the remediation that's going to take place.
Got it.
And then consistency with community plans, the answer is no, because it's no it's like an opposite question. Yes, it does. It is supported by local community plans. And then consistency with community character, I did note that I did have a couple dealing with, the proposed action may replace or eliminate existing facilities, structures, or areas of historic importance to the community, or the proposed action may create a demand for additional community services, schools, police, fire. And then the proposed action is inconsistent with the predominant architectural scale and character. Again, these are all, not saying that there's a negative impact, it's just, it's gonna be a big change on the site, and so it's just, again, for them to provide a little bit more narrative on that.
Great.
So those were the items that I identified, but again, this is, you're the lead agency, so it's up to your discretion if there's anything else you'd like to add.
I tried to add a couple things in there, but, I don't know, board member feedback, thoughts?
I think it covers pretty much everything.
I think it's a good list. I think we need to hear a lot more, to have a better understanding of, I think the narrative will be super helpful as well. But I think this is a good starting point from our end. Okay. Anything else we need to be covering? No, there's, is, in terms of zoning and variances, where do we stand on that front right now?
I think we're good with the list we have, and then if you're comfortable with what they provided, then we can have you refer this over to the CBA.
Right, and that would be a preliminary referral, right? Because obviously they can't make any determinations until
Seekers
after
complete.
seeker's complete.
But-
Yeah,
The technically, just for in terms, they'll be before the board probably in January, so you might be able to wrap up seeker before then if we can get things, you know what I mean? Depending on how much details we get next month and everything.
right, okay, so if they're not gonna be before the board in January, we can make that referral in November. And it wouldn't impact the timeline in terms of
I
what
mean,
this is ZBA.
Yeah, I mean, I
Make
think
referral.
right, you can still make the referral, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
we might be able to have,
Got it.
as an
So-
official application,
Got
cause
it.
maybe you'll have seeker wrapped up.
Got it. All right. That makes sense. Before we go any further with this, can I have a motion to open the public hearing, reopen the public hearing of the application?
Eric Talbot, I make a motion to open the public hearing, reopen.
Michael Aronson, second.
All right, any objections or none? Is there anybody here from the public to speak to this application tonight? I don't see anybody in the room. Is there anybody on Zoom who would like to speak to this application? You can use the hand raise function. I see you may shaking your head, Maddie, but I say it anyway. I don't see anybody. Can I have a motion to adjourn the public hearing?
I'll first make a motion to adjourn the public hearing. A second motion.
All right, and are there any objections? So the public hearing is adjourned. So as far as can we just have a motion to make a referral, and maybe could we just put on the record what we've talked about it previously here, but I think it'd be good to put on the record what the variances are that we're currently referring.
Yeah, so it's gonna be livable, floor area for one bedroom apartment. 750 square feet is required, 652 square feet is proposed. Maximum building height, 4 stories or 48 feet is required, and they're requesting 6 stories and 59.5 feet. I think building width No, we've I think those are the only two.
Yeah, the width
Right.
was related to the view corridor
Yeah.
and not referring. Okay, so, all right, so
Those two.
just those two. So the max height's a big one. Okay, so could I have a motion to, forward those two, variances to the zoning board?
Michael Aronson, motion to refer the two variance items to the CBA.
Eric Talbot, I second.
Great, any objections? We're good, the motion carries.
And then I'd also like you, if you can refer this over to, officially over to the EAC, they're gonna be for LWRP consistency, but then also ultimately they'll need tree removal, like, so, but they haven't submitted those plans yet, but once they do, so if this way it's already in the works and they can just keep appearing.
We can make both, both referrals, yeah, so we have a motion to make the LW
Okay.
RP and the tree removal, sorry, my brain stopped working for half a second there. Referrals to the EAC.
Eric Talbot, I'll make a motion to make the referral to the LWRP and to the EAC.
Michael Aronson, second.
All right, any objections to that? See none. Okay, so that carries as well. So, anything else that we need to do on this application tonight?
No.
Any other questions you guys have? Okay, all right, can we have a motion to adjourn the application for tonight?
I make motion to adjourn the application.
All right, any objections? None. Thank you guys very much. Have a good night.
See you next month.
Yep. All right, moving right along. All right, so we're gonna hit on to 171 Croton Avenue. So this is a site plan and VAR approvals for a second store addition. So we have the applicant, SCG
Yep.
on
And they're on their way.
Zoom. I think what I'll do is, we will bring, as the applicant, and their engineer come in, we'll kind of give them an opportunity to give us an update of where the project is, and then once we get that update, I'll probably forward it over to you, Tony, just to give us your kind of review status, and then we'll go from there. All right, so I see that Mr. Disabile and Mr. Bonfiglio are both here. So gentlemen, I don't know which one of you wants to take the lead, but if you want to just kind of give us a status update of the project, if you're able to turn your cameras on, that's preferred. If you can't, we also understand. You know, we're ready to hear from you.
Good evening, guys. Pat Costabile, for Stephen A. Costa Associates Engineers. Yeah, so we proceeded with the comments from Mr. Macri, the consulting structural engineer. We seem to have answered all of those comments satisfactorily. Yeah, and we're back here again with those resolved. We also believe we answered the comment about the garbage was written on the plan. Other than that, we're seeking to get recommended to the town board for the parking, pay the parking in lieu of the 2 spaces that we need.
Got it. And so, hey, Tony, maybe you just give, you're there somewhere, but just give the board an update. I know it's been a little while, and I know there's been effectively an engineering issue that's been working on in the background. If you could kind of just give us an update.
Yeah, that's correct. So, as you know, the condition of the culvert was causing problems below the building. Going back and forth, addressing the structural consultant's comments. They developed a plan, which works. He's satisfied with it, so the culvert will be rebuilt stronger. And as far as the civil comments, those have all been addressed as well. Garbage has been, you know, the note has been put on there, that'll be a private corridor. So at this point, yeah, they've addressed everything.
Okay, and Valerie, I know on your end, because you've also had an open review, but it's, and you know, the applicant spoke to the parking issue, which I think we'll have a conversation about, which is, probably the big item that's been left open on this. But anything else that we should be attending to?
No, I think we just noted that there's like, right now that there's a few obstructions to completing like some of the sidewalks, and that the site plan should probably note that what will be removed to accommodate the sidewalks, that was requested. Because they're technically, when you actually look at the sidewalks, or actually look at the.
Yeah,
site-
there's no sidewalk. It's all dirt.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So when you're at the sidewalks, and I think there are some, like there's fire hydrants, there's a pole, there's a few things that are there.
From the site walkthrough, that there's like a light pit, like a wooden electrical utility pole, which was, I think, pretty close to where it was gonna make the sidewalk very narrow. So just making sure that those are all noted on the site plan.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did all of that on the site plan. We also talked to Con Edison about the removal of that pole there. The pole is dead. There is no electric on the pole. So, they're going to remove the pole. And that'll help us there as far as the width and stuff goes at that area.
Got it. And so I guess you noted, so our, kind of before this board tonight, and it was kind of, I think it's a good time to open up the conversation here with this board, is the question of parking, which I think went back and forth during the original review. I think most of us were here for that. That was ultimately, we're landing on, there's a request for, is it two spots?
Yeah.
For payment in lieu, which would be the village board of trustees approval, not a planning board approval. And I think the question for us is, we have two options with this. This can be payment in lieu, or it could be a variance. And I think kind of understanding kind of which body it makes more sense to forward this to. I don't know if there's any, any initial, kind of thoughts from this board on which direction makes sense for that.
She's still allowed to get a variance to waive?
Well, I think the issue that we talked about with staff is that, if they're gonna recommend this payment in lieu of parking, I mean, part of it is the recommendation is that they feel that there's sufficient parking in that. And then I think the board raised in the previous conversations about the issue with that whole intersection and the parking that's already all over the street and on the lot currently that's being approved. So if they find that there's not, that there's not sufficient parking for a recommendation, then an option, I think Tara noted that, is they could go for a zoning variance. If they would need a variance in order to be able to move forward with this project.
Can you just refresh our memory about how many parking spaces would be required and how many are proposed?
Yes. So there's 6 required parking spots. There are 2 exterior and 2 interior proposed. So we need the 2 extra spots.
We put the site plan up. It's been a little while.
Keep scrolling down.
I think another option that we discussed potentially was making a referral to the board without a recommendation. And let the board of trustees kind of review the issue and make a determination on the facts as they see them. All right, so was there a tandem, right, was there a tandem parking? There was.
That's old. That's old. Yeah, you remember it from before. So,
2 in the garage.
so there were 2 spots inside the building, two inside the rear of the building in this area, and up on top, there's 2 spots.
Where are the other two? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, and this was an issue where the tandem wasn't working. It says.
Yeah, 2 in the garage. Yeah, originally.
Yeah, the garage. Yeah.
Garage, so we got rid of the ones blocking the other ones, so. the
Correct,
garage and
correct.
2 Back of the site.
Got it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's the part I don't
Yeah.
understand. where The other two are actually located.
Yeah, so the 2 are up top there.
2.
Those are the interior site.
And then there's 2.
No, these are, this is a covered So it's where it says existing structure, right? That's where the other two spots are.
Yeah, it's an interior garage on the first level.
Right, even though even the exterior spots are right there underneath the cantilevered portion of the building as well, correct?
No, there's no cantilever part of the building. The building's not cantilevered. It's just on the footprint of what was there. The front is where we added a little bit.
Got it.
I don't think I understand the flow of parking spaces. In terms
So
of,
there's a turnaround plan up on the site plan. I think you gotta scroll the other way.
No, scroll down right there. At the top.
Yeah, there it is.
Just, you can.
Oh, is that blocking it?
The Zoom window's blocking our view of it. There we go. Right, so that car, but that car that's at the bottom is actually not parked. That's like heading into the garage.
Correct. It's actually coming out of the garage, but yeah.
Up and out back.
Yeah.
and what is this? Open space or is there a structure there? There's
No, it's
not-
all, that's what you're seeing right there is all open space.
Okay, and then there are two spots within the garage and then two in the exterior.
On the back end of the property.
Right,
And then again, just out of refreshers, because it's been a while, there's 2 residential units and 1 office.
So there's 2 residential units and two commercial spaces. But they're small commercial, very small commercial spaces.
And the parking on site would be dedicated to the residential use,
Yes,
so that the off-site parking would be for the 2 offices. And so is it 1 spot for each based on the square footage? Is that what the calculation was? 2 for each residence and 1 for each?
yeah, I think it's 3. I think it was 3 for the residences and 3, if I remember correctly.
So one of those spaces would take money.
Got it.
Was 6 cars altogether. The offices was, yeah, it's 3 for each. 3 for each, 3 for the commercial, 3 for the residential.
So okay, and so, all right, and there, and one of the 4 is already, is the, accessible spot.
That's
Got
correct.
All right, so I mean, board members' questions, we'll open up a public hearing in a second, but just kind of thoughts. Effectively, the parking question is the one that in our court right now. I think the question, I think that Valerie articulated at the top of the call, which is what's been part of this conversation and this review from the beginning, is just the busyness of that corner, the number of cars and trucks. It's kind of a blurred between a commercial and it's the boundary between a commercial and a residential district. Which zoning district does this property fall into? Just as a reminder, this is NC.
Yeah, it's NC2.
Okay.
NC2, yeah.
C2, and across the street is NC2, because I know that the property across the street was at one point rezoned to be incorporated into NC2 from the. And what residential district is it that it abuts?
They are at 75.
That's 75, okay. And so this is right, this is the corner, and I think there's a crosswalk over there. Across Croton Avenue, right, as part of that. So that garage is roughly where the garage would be. But the grade has changed, right? Sorry, just again, talking about all these things, that the grade up into the garage, is it the same?
No, it's all.
It had to be lowered in order to work out to your requirements.
Oh, yeah, because it's so.
That's what I thought. Okay. So the parking area will be flatter than what's currently there.
Oh, much flatter, yes.
Okay. And that's the utility pole for whatever it's worth, that's gonna be removed.
Correct.
Okay. And if we just go over to the corner there, just so we can look at the crosswalk. Right, so that is like a major crosswalk for kids going, especially to like Roosevelt School.
I think the crossing guard's right there in the photo. Oh, she's not in that one.
Yeah,
She's
you
the other
see her,
side.
I just see her, yeah.
Am I crazy?
Yeah, I think when you try
Yeah.
I've looked at this so many times, I know what you're talking about.
Got it. Right, and so I mean, sight lines and is there parking on Croton Avenue in front of the property? There's not, because it's a
No.
curb cut, right?
No, it's a bus stop.
It's a bus stop.
Mhm.
Got
Yeah,
it.
There's a lot going on.
And again, just for the board, the parking that we're seeing currently in front of the building will no longer be there because the building's being extended towards Croton Avenue.
That's,
Yeah, so those spots are being eliminated. So there's a net reduction in parking, parking spots on the site, and there's a net increase in square footage and parking requirements.
And is parking legal around the corner or not, on the same side of the building?
So there's a sign that says, no parking from here to the corner to a certain point.
Right, which is, I'm sure, to preserve sightlines.
And there's a fire hydrant there as well.
Mhm.
Mhm.
That doesn't.
That's the sign right there, yeah.
Oh, what was the sign say? Just,
Oh,
no, I think it was actually the other way. Yeah, that
yeah,
guy.
right
Oh,
there.
yeah. It's no parking.
Yeah, that's just a no parking.
Yeah.
Okay, no parking anytime.
Yep.
So any payment in lieu is effectively sending cars down Sherman.
Mm-hmm.
Which I mean, as I recall, in the past, there have been concerns from the community about the number of cars. When we were looking at, the other developments on Sherman, there were comments.
Right, and you're right, there's, I think in this image, I think there's 2 curb cuts potentially that have been approved since, for driveways that are not.
Yeah, they
reflected
don't
in
have
this
that,
image.
yeah.
Right, I mean, like, this is actually a really helpful exercise, of just kind of unwinding and kind of putting us back to where we were and kind of what the crux of the issue it is. But ultimately, I think, but, the payment in lieu is it's not a determination this board makes, and I think what we've articulated here is something that can be forwarded to the board, which is that this is a complicated site, and that it's a complicated request. So, we're, I think the other way around, we are kind of going to the Board of Trustees to take a look at this and determine if this should be granted a payment in lieu in that respect. I don't know, does that make sense? Is that something that board members?
Yeah, I think that would be
All right.
the preferable way.
Before we finalize anything, I'm mindful that we haven't reopened the public hearing. Can I have a motion to enter back into the public hearing?
Eric, Tom, I make a motion to re-enter back into the public hearing.
Michael Aronson, second.
Any objections? There are none. So is there anybody here to speak to this application? Thought I saw you there. So just remember to reintroduce yourself.
Hey, can we pass this out to them?
Now, is this in the?
It is.
Yeah, been posted to the agenda.
Well, I revised the July letter. I simplified it a little
Okay,
bit.
and we'll just make sure, Maddie, that you get a copy. You can give this to Jamie to post, please.
Sure, yep.
Be great. Thank you. Thank you.
Alright, parking in lieu of, payment in lieu of parking. Make no mistake that this application here is not a hardship. He knew what he purchased, he knew what was there, and now he's trying to expand the building beyond what it should be expanded, and he's asking for payment of lieu of parking. It can be done, and that the application a couple of minutes ago down on Main Street, that was a perfect example. They're making some apartments into a building that's already there, not expanding, not doing anything to it. And I think that one should be approved with payment in lieu of parking. But this one here, you're taking the whole front, like you just pointed out. The front has a minimum of 4 parking spaces there right now. They're taking that and they're eliminating it. the code on the second page of, that little pamphlet I sent out, I believe that's the code that applies to this, and it says that it can be done, and it does not result in a loss of existing off-street parking. The existing conditions for the front of this proposal has never been shown on this application. I don't understand that. This proposal's been there since 2023, and he's never shown existing conditions of the front on his elevation. There is at least 4 parking spaces in the front of the existing building that will be eliminated and not replaced with the addition to the front of the building. So right there alone, this application should be denied, because there's no reason why he should be taking this area, expanding it, eliminating parking spaces, and then asking for a grace. The existing building encroaches into my property by 4 inches. The new addition will be built on my property by 4 inches. Why has this not been addressed? So when you look at, I have a survey in that little package I gave you, towards the end, toward the back. Some of them have it, some of them don't. If you go to the page before that. The page before that survey. You can see a blow up of the property line. You see the front corner of his building over 0.40. So that building is on my property by 4 inches. Now, that's an existing building, fine. But once you start putting big additions on it, you can't be building on my property. That's ridiculous. And it should have been brought up a long time ago, 2023, and it hasn't. Right? There will be my property, if you look at that survey, my building is about 6 to 9 inches off of my property line. Right? So it's not dead on the property line. So I understand the Village of Austin's code is either you build right on the property line, or there has to be a setback for safety, for alleyways, right? The existing building is approaching my property by 4 inches. So if they build a new building, it's gonna be, there's going to end up being about a 6-inch alleyway between the 2 buildings. How would that work for safety, repairs, rats, garbage, a little kid could get stuck in there? This is ridiculous. It's been a ridiculous plan from day one. You can't have a 6-inch alleyway. There's no way to maintain the 2 buildings. I have a lot of stuff on my buildings. There's pipes with electrical that goes there, which is perfectly in compliance. But once you put that building 6 inches away, there's no way to maintain either building. It's just bad design. What else about here? There's been no elevations of the new building shown on the northeast side. Now, this application has been in front of you for 2 years now, and he's showing 3 elevations: the front, the Sherman Road side, and the back with the garages. He never showed the elevations on my side. Why? With it being, yeah.
Yeah, could you let Mike in, please?
Sure, he was here and then he went away.
Yeah.
On the plan, the elevations, on the plan on A5 of the plan, the elevation shows the elevation now is 288.5. The new elevation is gonna be 286.2. Right, that's alongside my stone wall in the back of the property. So they're gonna be lowering that area the way I see it on the plan by 2 feet, right? What's gonna protect my footings? Right? This is a landscape wall that's there. It's less than 3 feet high. When I've been a mason contractor in the Village of Austin since the 80s, right? When we put up a little wall like that, we only go down 18 inches, start our stone and go. That's all that's there. They go down 2 feet, there's nothing to be holding that wall up. Okay? Also, alongside the building, they're gonna be excavating within inches of my property line. What's gonna protect the building? Show it on the plan. There's nothing shown on the plan, right? On A3, the water course, the culverts, it shows a lot of new repair with great, but when it gets close to my property line, it doesn't show how it's connecting to the existing. There's nothing shown on the plan. I don't, like I said, this application has been not upfront from day one. They've been sliding here, sliding there, and it's not an upfront application. Show what you're supposed to show. Otherwise, it should be denied. In my opinion, this whole application, as it stands right now, should be denied. All right? There's, on the July letter, the culvert under the building, the property, this is my opinion now, and this is good planning. The property should be acquired by the village from the applicant, come up with a settlement. So that you can protect the water flow for public safety, the culvert, raise the building, the existing building, install a safe station for the school bus crossing guard, and add some much needed parking on the property. That would be good planning for the village. Not an overbuilt building that you have a culvert that's owned by him, owned by me, who knows what it is. And a 6-inch alleyway, ridiculous. Sorry for being so loud.
No, this is why we're here. This is exactly why we're here. So, I appreciate your comments. I'll just, I know we have Joe here, on the call. Just as far as the lot line is concerned, I don't know if, hopefully you're listening. I know you're muted, Joe, but, as far as building permit and lot lines, how would you deal with that as far as the plan review from different Joe?
Not Joe.
Joe is here, but. Joe, I don't know if you can hear us. I mean, I would let Joe at some point, both, I think both point number 2, and also point number 4 in terms of from a code perspective, just in terms of the gap and the setback between the buildings. I think it'd be helpful to hear from Joe. I think, yeah, I mean, number 6, I think is outside of the purview of, well, I think that's, Tony, as far as the repairs that were the structural reviews and of the culvert and its connection to adjacent ends. How is that addressed?
Yeah, that was my understanding that was addressed by the structural engineer.
Okay.
Because that was one of his comments of how you're gonna show that connection to it, so it doesn't impede the flows.
On both ends, I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
I mean, I could relook into it, but like I said, it was something that was mentioned.
Okay. And Joe, sorry to bring you back in. I just was, there was a comment made regarding a potential what appears to be an existing lot line violation and how the addition would have to relate to the lot line.
What is the violation right now on the lot line? I'm not.
The claim is that the building was built, I think, 4 inches east of the lot line, the original building, per a survey that was provided. So I don't know if that's reflective of any of the surveys that were submitted by the applicant or how that.
It might be the portion of the building he's removing. I just don't remember the plans in my head.
No, so the part of the building is that little corner that sticks out towards his property in the front cornered edge on an angle. So that piece sticks out exactly what he said. The new portion of the building does not go onto his property. It is on our property, both levels. It has no encroachment onto his property. The existing piece that's there is remaining. It's there. It's existing. So we're not touching that.
Well, if that's the question is about the existing thing, it's a pre-existing nonconformity. I mean, if the argument is that the portion of the existing building is on your property, that's actually like a civil matter. It's not something that we're permitting to be constructed. Anything that they're proposing to do now would have to meet all the zoning requirements. And it definitely won't be able to be built on crossing over a property line. We wouldn't issue a permit that way.
That's helpful. And then the other question I think that came up, and this is just from a code perspective in terms of addressing the gap, when there's a narrow gap between buildings, if the proposed project were built up to the lot line, resulting in what's being described as a 6-inch I don't know exactly what the dimension would be, but does the code speak to that space between buildings in terms of maintenance?
Not, if there's no setback requirement in the zoning code, that's one thing, but as for building code, those requirements would be when you have buildings of that proximity, they'll have to build it with the proper fire rating, depending on what the occupancy is and how it'll be regulated by the building code on what type of material and what type of construction it has to be to create the proper fire barrier.
Got it.
So just for clarification though, they're planning to put a second story on,
But the
right?
second story won't be encroaching over the property line,
But
except it'll be conforming,
No, no.
correct? Or not right?
Right.
No,
So-
there's no.
I think it would be helpful to see, just to have clarity on the relationship of the addition to the lot line. I mean, obviously, it seems, Joe's made it really clear, and that's not part of this board's review, right? That's just a building review, is that no improvements would be permitted on the other side of the lot line. I think that's probably enough from this group, but because that's not our review, that would be more building department review.
Right.
But, I think it was raised, I just wanted to make sure we were discussing it, I want to make sure that.
No, I get that. I just wanted to make sure, because I think they're planning they're not knocking, they're keeping the foundation and everything. So we'll just be
Right.
building right on top of what's existing.
Right, but they're not, the new addition isn't going over the property line. So whatever is existing, that's been there, it's the existing condition. And Joe's right, I believe that is a civil matter between this property owner and the neighbor. I can certainly look into that, but
Yeah, I just want to make sure if the board approves it, that there's not gonna be an issue.
so by the time they come back, we'll have that resolved.
Yeah, as shown and drawn, I want to make sure that's
Oh,
clear.
sure.
Sure. So, the public comment noted so we talked about the lot line. I think the east elevation, is the elevation that's abutted against the wall. I think, it is that's more of what Joe was describing in terms of a fire rated construction.
But to
Yeah,
that point, I
sure.
mean, have we seen the elevations of the new addition on that side of the property? I'm not sure I
No,
recall seeing that in the plan, so the part that
they're not there.
is above. the
I think it would be fair
existing
to
structure.
represent it. I think it would be an unadorned wall,
Yeah,
but this
I-
Yeah,
material.
no, it's not on the drawing from his side, the small piece that you could see from the back of his building. It's not on the drawing. I could put that on the drawing.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful on that.
Yeah.
Let me just go through the comments. We are still in a public hearing. I'm just trying to, we think we still have one other item on our agenda tonight, so I just want to make sure we're covering all of our bases. I'm going through your notes here just to make sure that the applicant is addressing them and as is the town, the village. So the other, as far as the next question addresses, just the potential underpinning. And I guess, Tony, that's really more, I guess, on your end, was there any underpinning or structural issues that you guys saw in your review?
Yeah, no, we didn't pick up on anything like that. I don't know if you'd want a structural engineer to look at that component of it.
Because it's talking about the underpinning of right, there's the adjacent building and then there's also the wall. It sounds like the wall.
Cause he's lower in the grade to get into the
Yeah,
garage.
yeah. So I think it would be worth kind of having, I mean, certainly I want to make sure that there's nothing. Part of our review is making sure that the neighboring building is not impacted. So if there's going to be excavation adjacent to that property, just understanding, whether, yes or no, whether underpinning would be required. I don't know if that's already been looked at and that can be just kind of pulled out from previous reviews or how that could be.
Yeah, no, I don't think it was ever looked at, no. No.
And then we already discussed the last comment, which is related to the engineering review of the culvert, and I think you confirmed that that was looked at and as part of the structural review of that culvert. Okay, so before we adjourn, did you have one quick comment that you wanted to
Yeah,
add?
the parking in the front has never been shown on what's existing there now. So he's asking for payment in lieu of parking, but there is parking there now, which he's not calculating. And so why would you give payment in lieu of parking? Don't make the addition. Like I said, this is not a hardship. he knows what he owns, he knows what he purchased. So don't make the addition out to the front, and you have more than enough parking. That's one. And then the second thing, he said that the tenants, the apartments are gonna have the parking in the garage. Well, if you pull up the floor plan of the retail, it looks to me that it's all part of the retail. So what the guys upstairs gonna go inside the retail to get the car out? I don't think so.
I mean, the park in the back is in a garage, but I think that the parking question is obviously, as you heard from our conversation before, a major part of what we're trying to understand and deliberate. So your comments are very much noted. And I think that, the next step is to really have somebody else take a look at this, and which would be to, this board doesn't grant payment in lieu. That's another body. So I think what I would like to do, I think at this point, we've heard the comments. Could I have a motion to adjourn the public hearing?
Michael Aronson, motion to adjourn the public hearing.
I would second the motion.
Or any objections? The public hearing is adjourned. I think that the next thing for this board to do would be to ask the Board of Trustees to take, to review, in the context,
Okay.
oh, we also have secra, that's right.
Then
So, well, this is, so can we not refer to the village board? And so, sorry, please, just.
So
help us out here.
the payment in lieu of parking requirements state that seeker must be completed before the village board can act, before they can hear the payment in lieu of parking
Got it.
request.
Right. And I know that we had a lengthy secret review on this prior to the engineering review of the.
Right, I
culvert.
think the one thing that you just wanted, you held out before making any NADAC was specifically, this was actually like in June of 2024, that you specifically wanted the stormwater stuff to be dealt with.
Right.
And so now that that is complete, you could potentially issue a negative declaration in terms of the environmental impacts. There's yeah.
Maybe I could go back into that.
Yeah.
Let's just take a quick look at this, but. And I think the only other item that we would, I think, we're all relatively familiar with this document, but just in terms of traffic and parking, in terms of where that would impact here, I think that's a place that we can look at. Because this is where there's a little bit of a chicken and the egg relationship between secra and payment in lieu.
Yes.
But that falls under the
Right, I mean, technically you can still, and, Taryn, weigh in too, but I think you can give a negative declaration and still have parking concerns.
Right.
Because this is just saying there's not a significant adverse impact to require like an environmental impact statement.
Right.
But you can still, you can still have impacts that you're concerned about in terms of the site plan.
Right.
So, any questions? The potential significant environmental impact that we were worried about was just again, to put everybody back in our June 2024 hats, which were very fashionable. Sorry, needed to be said. It was related to this culvert running under the building, and you were going to build a structure on top of that culvert. If it's not sufficiently engineered and designed, we already knew that it was damaged. Then there was a sinkhole on the site that we saw during our walkthrough. That could have been a potential pitfall to the project, and that's why, being serious about it, it's taken from June till now to address that issue, because it was serious and required real work to resolve. So that work has been done. That's been resolved. I think as Valerie articulated, the parking issue, I think, is not resolved. There's still questions about it, but not questions in the context of the secret review per se. I feel comfortable saying that, but I just want to kind of go around and make sure that everybody on the board feels that way, or enough of the board feels that way.
Yeah, so could I just make a statement? The parking that's existing in the front, the curb cut that's there, is right at the corner of the property, goes out onto the bus stop. So to me, that's a very dangerous situation for kids that walking by, or you saw the crossing guard in the Google photograph. we're
don't think
making that
it's
front
all
area safer.
there
We're,
right now.
we're improving that area. We're making it much safer for pedestrian traffic, and bringing the automobile traffic that was in the building there in the back of the building, where it's a lot
Yeah.
safer in the back than it is in the front.
And I think if I could speak also, I think to your point, when we did meet on site, where the speaker referenced, I believe it was, I don't know, maybe May or June of 24. That was a topic of conversation, and they agreed on that day, basically with what you're saying, that parking in the front just didn't make sense. And so I think that I believe that's understood, and I think it's agreed by the board, because that was a topic of conversation when we had met that day.
Yeah, and again, I want to separate out what we're talking about here right now, because the topic at hand was seeker and making sure that this board felt comfortable making a negative declaration, which is a prerequisite then to making a referral to the Board of Trustees, who would make a determination on parking. So from the seeker issue and the and what we just reviewed and kind of went back to 2024, are there any questions, comments, or objections to the draft neg deck that Valerie had proposed?
I think what Valerie had to say, that we can issue a neg deck and still have some concerns about parking, would be something that I feel comfortable doing.
And again, the threshold is a significant adverse environmental impact. So it doesn't mean no impact, just no significant adverse impacts to warrant the preparation of an environmental impact statement.
Right.
So.
I mean, at its crux, it's a relatively modest project. It's a major project at its corner, and it's very impactful on the neighbors. But the scale of it and the scale of that impact is relevant, and it's determinative in terms of our decision.
Right.
And in terms of the process, and I know it's just because the night is long and we've had this before, but once we can't approve this project until the payment in lieu of parking has been approved by the BOT,
Yeah.
is that correct?
Because if they don't grant it, then you're gonna have to either make the project conforming to the parking, right? So maybe reduce number of units, office space, that type of thing. And they need to try to plead their case in front of the ZBA.
Right.
So,
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I think all of that's laid out. I think it's clear. I think you just to summarize where we are, and then I think we'll take a vote on the negative deck. But so we talked, we kind of went through the public comments. I think out of those comments, getting clarity on the relationship of the lot line and the addition to make sure from a kind of a engineering end that's there's no problems building the addition as of right on the west side of the lot line. Getting clarity on an engineering end related to the potential for underpinning and structural impact on the neighboring building, just getting that clarity, that's number 2. Number 3, getting an elevation drawn of that east wall, which I recognize is probably relatively straightforward, but I think it should be provided and it should be on the record. And so those would be, that's kind of like the homework for different people. Then the work for this author for this group right now is just making a determination on seeker. And then once that determination is made, we can also potentially make a referral to the board. All right, are we all good? We're all straight?
Yep.
All right. So can I have a motion to approve the neg deck,
To adopt a negative
to
declaration.
adopt a negative declaration on this application?
Holly first, I make the motion to approve, to adopt negative declaration.
Michael Aronson, second.
And we will do a roll call.
okay. Eric Talbot,
Aye.
Michael Aronson,
Aye.
Holly Thurston, Carla Elliott, Chair Roy.
Hi. Okay, so that carries, and then since we've made a secret determination, we can forward the payment in lieu request to the Board of Trustees. I think that I articulated this earlier. I think we're referring this without a recommendation, that we're asking for the board to take put fresh eyes on this, and value and how they see it here. So can we have a motion to, forward the payment lieu request to the Board of Trustees?
Michael Aronson, motion to refer the payment in lieu of parking request without a recommendation from this board.
Or Talbot, second.
And any objections to that? Just 5 of us here, none heard, so that motion carries. Okay, so let's go back to the applicant. Do you guys have any questions for us based on where we stand right now?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Can I have a motion from the board to adjourn the application?
Eric Talbot, make a motion to adjourn the application.
First, I second.
Right, any objections? There are none. We're adjourned. Everybody knows where we're going with that. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you,
Thanks,
board.
guys.
Appreciate your
Have a
time.
Good night.
Right, thank you. So we do have, I'm just gonna go back. Do we have 12 Willow Street here? No, we don't. Oh, sorry, I'm not up to 12 Willow. I'm up to Main Street. So 209, 211 Main Street. So if you guys can come on up, we're gonna go revisit this application. This is for site plan. So it's for a number of items, right? Site plan, conditional use, payment in lieu, VAR, all for a new mixed use building. So you guys can give us an update on where you guys are, and we have some comments, I think, from staff, and we're gonna talk about all of that.
Before we give you the update, I just wanted to introduce myself. You've met my architect, Bob Stanzial. You met my engineer, Rich Cardone. I'm Ahmad Chalabi. I'm CSA. I've been a town of Austining resident since 2007. I've been a Village of Austining property owner since 2012. I developed and own 105, 107 Croton Avenue. I worked with Paul Fraioli, the village engineer. I worked with Joe Agostinelli, the building inspector. I worked with Valerie Monastra, the village planner. So I'm a known quantity. My neighbors and Austining police have been very happy with me. Before I got to Croton Avenue, the lot was a dumping ground and a place to hide for people running from law enforcement. Now it's a quiet and decent place. So believe it or not, 209, 211 Main Street used to be the site of 3 buildings. Now it's a dumping ground. The amount of trash that I have personally cleaned up from the site is jaw-dropping. 120 bags of trash, so much that I had to scoop it with a snow shovel. But it's more than just those bags. 2 bicycles, 7 scooters, hubcaps, wheel rims, a shopping cart, a sewing machine, 2 ice chests, a CRT TV. When I was a kid, I used to watch Looney Tunes. There was one cartoon where they needed to pack for vacation. Bugs Bunny filled the car 10 times over with luggage, to the point where Yosemite Sam said, they got everything but the kitchen sink. Lo and behold, the kitchen sink was tossed his way. Well, I even found the kitchen sink on this property along with an entire countertop. So I using the term from the State Street guys, I am like a one-man brownfield remediator. We don't need or want a pile of junk in the center of our village. It's an embarrassment. I would like to improve this community, a community that I'm a part of, and I hope that you can help me improve it.
Thank you. I appreciate your coming and talking to us.
Chairman Roy, you didn't planning board members, staff, Robert Stanzial, as Ahmad introduced me. Back again here. I think we responded to some comments from staff last time around, and we just, I think we received some comments to those comments, some additional things from Nelson Voorhees as well as Kellogg. And I don't know, Valerie, do you want to go into those? To handle those things.
So I think if you have responses to what Valerie has put forward, I think like you summarizing your responses, I think would be helpful. I think we'll focus in, I think, on a couple of different areas tonight.
Okay. This was item number 16 on, in EP's memo, concerning the height that we responded to the height analysis sheet is not an height analysis sheet I provided. And there's not an issue, but I hadn't corrected the zoning chart, which I will do to reflect that revised height to 46.71 feet. We'll be doing that. So the other issue again is still coming up about the concern about the stacked parking spaces in the garage. I did provide a sort of a maneuvering plan there, showing basically that again, the stack units are proposed for the two-bedroom apartments to be operated by the tenants themselves. I do a lot of work. My office is in Nourishell. I do a lot of work in Nourishell with these multi-story buildings that go up. They all have, some of these are valet operated, but majority of them are all self-operated by the tenants themselves. They used to allow them to have 3 stacker units, but they got rid of those because there were too many problems. But now they allow double stackers in Nourishell. But they are self-operated. Again, where I submitted I don't know, Valerie got that, I think, I'm not too sure. I sent it to Jamie.
Yeah,
I had a
there's a
little
video.
video.
There's a video, yeah, she said, I don't think she was unable to post that to the
Yeah,
agenda,
okay,
I
I
mentioned
don't
that.
know how to, I don't know how
I
to quite
saw
how to
it,
post it, but it's.
Yeah, we saw it, Robert.
It was from Benpack, a company that we're probably gonna use on this. It just show the operation of it, basically. It's got sort of a hand-mounted stanchion where you push a button and
Yeah,
lower car backs out, the upper car drops down, the other car backs out, car pulls in, the other car pulls away, which is basically what this diagram is showing here.
yeah, we can, if the rest of the board didn't see the video, I'll make sure that Jamie
Just circulates it by email.
What's the link on like a Word doc?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, let's just take a moment on this, because I think that this is and again, I think to the comments, made by the applicant as well. So it's, parking is incredibly tricky in this site. I think everybody in this room recognizes that. I mean, even just getting into this parking lot is relying on going through a building parking lot instead of off the street, right? Which makes perfect sense because it's the lowest level of the building, right? Only get there for that. I appreciate that you've got experience with this in Rochelle and other municipalities, and that's helpful. Like I worry about like an insurance company not wanting to cover the building because it's got this liability in it. I think I'm paid to worry in a lot of the different hats that I wear, so like it worries me. But I also so I don't know that it's that they shouldn't be there. Like I'm not ready to say that, but I'm also just wondering if I don't know. Like I think this is something like when I look at this, like I'm thinking, this garbage pile in the middle of the village, right? Like that's articulated a moment ago. Like something should be there, right? It's like right there. It's like a missing tooth on the smile of downtown, right? It's literally gone. Thank you. Right, so it's like I think there are certain problems, like there are certain just intrinsic problems, like how can you work around it, I don't know if this project needs additional, we're gonna talk about payment in lieu, right? Like if there's additional payment in lieu that's required, maybe these still go in, but I don't know if these fit the bill for required spaces, even based on the village code, I'm just wondering if it makes sense to kind of account for whatever's being doubled up on these, so that there's a backup plan. I mean, if you can fit all the cars that you need, minus the, whatever you're currently asking for, that's great, but then you would be asking for the additional, 9 spots on top of that, knowing that they'd be mitigated on site. But if there's ever a problem in the future, I don't know if Valerie maybe.
Would it be helpful for the board, is there somebody, a representative from the company that you're looking for the stackers to have come to a meeting and answer any questions from the board?
Yeah, I don't think there's any local representatives, Valerie. I could find out. I can. I mean, they provided me with that video. They said, well, we'll send you a video. So which is what I sent out, but
Well, they should be able to give you, come on Zoom.
possible.
I think part of the question is
Yeah,
also
yeah.
how does this work in practice?
Right.
Is there going to be someone there to teach the tenant how to use the lift? And how are parking conflicts going to be
I mean, it's
managed? Just the logistics of of using the stackers like in
Or
practice.
if there's a local, if there's a site locally that has it in practice that the board can go visit.
Yeah, Norristown. I know that for a fact.
Right, well,
Um,
if it's the same make and model, like then maybe.
Yeah, they're all pretty similar. I mean, they're either this is sort of a platform jack or they're a scissor jack operation, but I could find out.
What's the max weight, max vehicle size?
They're all different max, they're all different sizes. I mean, our ceiling in there is very high because we lower the whole thing to get down to the parking lot level for the back. So we'd be like a 17, almost an 18-foot high ceiling up there, so. But you can get them in 5,000, 7,000, 10,000 pound capacity, so they come in different weights because they're also made for commercial use to support trucks and things of that nature as well, so.
Right.
What's the name of the manufacturer? I'm sorry.
Well, this one is Bend Pack,
Ben?
Bend,
Ben.
BNDPAK, yep.
Thank you.
But we don't have this in Phil's last thing anymore.
I'm not aware of this
Yeah.
existing in the
These are
building.
four posts,
We have
right?
such a parking problem.
They're four
Yeah.
post lifts, right?
Yes, yes, they are. yeah.
Four
I mean, the other option, I think maybe you're alluding to this too, Chairman Roy. Well, honestly, we'd rather pay for the spaces than pay for these stackers. But I mean, that's a lot of spaces we'd be requesting from the village, so,
Well, I mean, I was almost
Utilize
even
space
talking
for
about
that.
both, where it's like you have the ability, I mean, maybe my worry is unfounded, so maybe the first step is to satisfy everybody's concerns here, and maybe that's the easiest way to do that.
Mhm.
Versus knowing that there's gonna be these kind of backup spots that aren't maybe official spots that would make it easier, for a payment in lieu to go through, and I don't know, I mean, it's almost like, we have to be convinced that these are code, it's not almost like, it is, we need to be convinced that these are code compliant parking spaces.
Right.
And I just, that's, I guess, that's the crux of it, and whether that could resolve that way or through a different means.
Yeah, I mean, they are standard size, they're still 9 by 18 space.
Yeah.
That fits in this.
Yeah, no, understood, but there's, it's like, I think, the analogy to tandem parking, right, where you have, is that where you're just.
But just
talking-
empowering.
Yeah. And maybe that's a code interpretation, maybe on Joe's end, right, that these are equivalent to tandem, I don't know, I think we need to have some sort of clarity on how these are defined and how they fit, again, and like, I appreciate the creativity and the effort to put, to kind of make this space comply.
Right,
It's a
right.
really, really tricky site.
Yep.
Um,
Yep, that is, sure. I guess the other concern was that, was raised, was concern about space number 1 also. Maddie, if you could put that.
Yeah, I think. I mean, that was just our comment, but I think,
Yeah.
in all reality, I mean, I know we're talking about that, but I think
I mean, I did a little.
we have bigger, I think there's bigger things that I think we need to probably focus on this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, I mean, maybe, is that a good transfer over to Tony, to your comments? or-
Yeah, I mean, my big comment is being able to use that lot to access this, that the agreements to actually, accessing the property through the municipal.
Can we go to that?
Yeah,
there's
so
a-
I think, right, I
site
think at
plan.
this point, it might be good to bring this back to the village board for an update and to get a little bit more. Just to make sure that, because now we're having the utilities, specifically tie into,
It's not on this drawing.
It's not Jackie's drawings.
Oh. So now that
Yeah.
keep going down.
That's existing condition. Yeah, keep going down, Maddie. Next one, I think. Yep.
Yeah, well, that's the curb cuts.
Go down one more.
Utilities, right?
There you go.
Yeah.
So now that they're proposing to put the utilities to go out to Broadway, I mean, that's really gonna cut across the village parking lot. And also,
The sidewalk.
the sidewalk, and it's gonna require a lot of work on village property, and I think, and also that, like, the different, regrading, trees coming down, it's probably at this point, like, while the board was open to have access, it probably need to have them take a look at this plan again, just to make sure that they're still in support with what's being proposed.
I mean, I support that, I mean. And candidly, again, just going back to if there's ever gonna be anything on the site, someone's gonna have to do something
Right.
like this, and I would forward this to the board with that. That context. But other, feelings about that? I mean, right, I mean, the parking issue, did we ever go back officially to the Board of Trustees? They kind of sent it our way
No.
without, right, they had seen that originally, or they were aware of
I think
the.
they basically. took
Well,
all the-
before there was a land use application.
Okay.
Yeah, it
And I
was,
think with a prior applicant.
Yeah.
It was a year ago, August.
Definitely
we
kind
met
of
with the
Yeah.
Board of Trustees,
Okay,
August 2024.
so you did go before the Board of Trustees though?
yes, and they recognized that this particular application was gonna need to have access. But then this was without all the other additional information, so maybe, because as long as we get like, again, a green light from them saying, continue proceeding with this development of this site plan from what is being proposed now, that gives you the ability to continue working through the site plan. Because if for some reason they don't want the utilities there, then we have to figure out where,
Yeah.
how they get pull those utilities, right, and that changes things.
Right, I mean, is there another, I mean, where are the other side of utility?
And then outside
on
pumping your
Route 9,
water, that's the
pumping.
maintenance issue. If you're trying to pump the Route 9 and, then you're going DOT. Is DOT gonna allow you to pump that stormwater up to their road?
Right, and now you're pumping, so if there's a malfunction of the pumps, we got water out in the parking lot.
I mean, usually they have alarms. You're
Yeah.
basically made aware of the problem.
Yeah,
But again, you're asking DOT, I wanna pump my stormwater into your system.
right,
And they're already not the easiest.
and you'd still be breaking into Route 9 at that point.
Correct, yeah.
Is that to replace, because I remember originally we were talking about breaking into Route 9, but is this to not do that, to avoid that?
Well, they're breaking into
still
Route
up
9
against- You're supposed to
in
do
their
that.
water service. Yeah, they're grabbing the water service from Route 9. But I've had this problem on private projects where DOT they really don't want your stormwater up the roads. We've had to change things for that.
So, right, so it's, right, the water, I guess the water main is where it
It
is.
is, yeah. But usually, that's something, DOT will.
Does anybody here have, again, just like looking at this site, feel uncomfortable, have any reason why we shouldn't send this to the Board of Trustees?
I
that.
don't think that's appropriate to do at this point.
It's a creative use of the site.
Okay. All right, so I think we can do that.
I guess my other, my other question was, which really could relate to a change in the shape of the building is, we know that we need a variance for this zoning variance because the residential use on the ground floor. Can we go forward to the zoning board to see if we can get that variance? Because if we don't, it may literally change the shape of this building with a redesign.
So that, I mean, that's related to seeker, right? Because we can't really, we can't have zoning, we can't make a zoning referral until until a negative deck is adopted.
The zoning board can't act on this application until a neg deck is adopted. It says that the applicant's requesting the opportunity to go before the ZBA just for preliminary feedback on the variance itself to see if the zoning board would be amenable to it.
Right.
So that's a little different. They wouldn't be acting, they would just be having a discussion about the application.
Right, so you could refer it to begin the application process, they just can't make a decision.
They can make the determination.
Yeah.
And again, because of how the meeting deadlines fall, it's possible.
And what are the other, other than the residential on the ground floor, which, again, just for this conversation is. And
Yeah,
the
There's
not
a
facing the
number of,
street. We'll go through that list, because that would be something we can, again, just thinking things that we can act on right now.
so, no, I think it's just,
I think that was the only variance.
yeah, I think that's the only variant, yeah, 'cause I
Building
think they
height.
cleared up everything else, yeah.
Okay.
The height.
So,
I have EAF part 1 incomplete. Finalized variances, that's resolved.
So, you might be looking at an older memo.
This is our August meeting.
Yeah. It's like, so they have updated the EAF part 1.
Okay,
I was gonna say tonight, you can issue a notice of intent to be lead agency.
Okay.
Because then we can start circulating that and get out, because I think this plan is developed enough that we can now also circulate it to the county for, like notification, and then also we can potentially, it's gonna also require EAC recommendation, so
And then, but then this is also, HPC.
Yes.
So it would be good to have them on the next.
I'm wondering if we could have them on the
Yeah,
next
the next
agenda, so
agenda.
we're gonna be meeting at our next meeting with HPC. Maybe we could just have that meeting start with these two agenda items, so we
Yeah.
can kind of,
Yeah.
they don't have to, we're gonna hang out. But that would be helpful, that way we can kind of do a kind of all-in-one architectural review.
That'd be great. Fantastic.
Fewer meetings for you to have to show up to. So, okay, so intent to be lead agency of the unofficial board of trustees, just like, hey, guys, what do you think? ZBA referral, EAC referral,
County.
and county referral. Well, does that come with our intent? I guess we do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just letting you know that those, the ZBA, EAC and HPC would be like official referrals. The county is just, we will do that, but we haven't done it yet, because I was waiting for the plan to get a little bit more developed.
Okay. All right. If you were going through a list, are there other comments that you wanted to kind of go through before we?
I don't think it's anything significant. I mean, if we're coming back, obviously, I can just respond to these and then.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful.
Plans, so just.
And
things to.
Valerie, Tony, any other major issues?
I just had one
Yeah.
question. There's an easement that's,
All right.
it's kind of the northwest.
Mhm.
It's almost where you're saying existing things to be removed. I'm wondering if those are the air conditioner condensers as well, but I didn't know if you knew what that easement was for. Was that the open air easement for the window? It sits in here,
Yeah, that's for the windows.
right here.
For the
But
windows,
the,
yes.
but the ACs are in that, the ACs are in there, but that's for the windows though.
Okay, yeah, because I was just curious. I saw that and I was thinking, did they have permission to have those ACs and an easement to have that? And now you're making them remove it. I just wanted to get clarity on that easement.
And the building sets back as you go higher, right? So well, this is a below grade plan, so it's showing.
Yeah, the yellow block on that side, the yellow outline is really the upper level. So it's pulled back from the property line, from those windows on the adjoining building where those apartments are gonna be. There was actually, I think there were 2 windows in the back, or 3 windows in the back. So we're set back 6 feet from our property line, and I think another 3 feet on their side. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just looking at the plans and I saw
It's
that.
a minimum
easement.
of 5
I did
feet for
first
light
time.
air, so by code. They have
The fire separation.
fire separation also for light and air.
Okay, so I just administratively can we have a motion to reopen the public hearing.
Michael Aronson, motion to reopen the public hearing.
I need a second motion.
Any objections? There are none. We're not in a public hearing. Make a note, there is nobody in the room other than the applicant team. Is there anybody on? There is nobody in the attendees list, so can I have a motion to adjourn the public hearing?
Eric Talbot, I make a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
Holly Thurston, second.
All right, any objections to that? There are none, so the public hearing is adjourned. I think, so now we have a couple things that we can do. Can we start with, can I have a motion to declare our intent to be lead agency on this application? For secret.
Michael Aronson, motion to declare our intent to be the agency on this application.
Holly, do you second the motion?
All right, we'll do a roll call.
Okay, Michael Aronson,
Aye.
Eric Talbot,
Hi.
Holly Thurston.
Aye.
Carla Elliott. Hi. Chair Roy.
All right, thank you. And then, can we do our ZBA and EAC referrals as a group? Can we have a motion to refer, and I'm gonna throw VOT, our unofficial VOT, even though that's not really, we're gonna put all in together in one, because we
Every
can.
board.
Every board gets it, and we don't need to do HPC, right, because that's automatic. Correct?
Put it in there, why not?
Why not? Right? We got BOT, ZBA, EAC, and HPC. I have a motion to refer this to everybody.
Eric Talbot, I make a motion to refer this application to the ZBA, the EAC, the BOT, and the HPC.
Nice.
Must be a packet.
Michael Aronson, second.
Rated apple.
And are there any objections to that? There are none, so all of those referrals are made. Any other questions for us?
Just a couple questions procedurally based on those.
Yeah.
That I guess we file, I'll contact you with getting before the DOT.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll be in touch with him.
zoning board are gonna make an official application to the zoning.
Yeah.
Actually, right,
And the same thing, do an official application to the HPC.
right, okay.
And then also EAC, Jamie will send you an LWRP checklist. And you fill that out and we'll get you onto an EAC meeting.
Are there any deadlines I'm thinking, especially because HPC, if we're planning to have them in our November
I think,
meeting?
I think they're already gonna be coming to the November meeting, so they can just submit the application, because 34 State Street, although they submitted an application, they're not on the HPC agenda next week
Okay,
because they're coming here.
got it.
They'll be the same.
Okay. All right,
All right, no, appreciate your help again.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
we're working our way through. Can I have a motion to adjourn the agenda item for tonight? The application?
Michael Aronson, motion to adjourn the agenda item.
I need a second motion.
Any objections to that? There are none. Thank you guys very much. See
Thank
you
you.
next meeting.
Good evening. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. All right, so before we break, there's nobody there or here, so I'm not gonna try for Willow. Next meeting is that where we're moving to Village? That's
November
January.
28th is our last
Meeting
hopefully
here.
meeting in this.
Hopefully, all right, now it's hopefully.
Board of Trustees needs to give it its official.
Got it, all right, understood. And then I think
Okay. Just asking.
No,
No,
I
I
mean,
just talk about space.
Like for
I
space, like-
understand. I mean,
no, so you're just talking about when we have,
well, we need
Just
to,
if
well,
we
we
need
need
to
to
get a bigger
have
space
more
to
room.
accommodate the HPC, like
Right.
in terms of the.
we even have a bigger room.
I don't know that we would do much better elsewhere, so I think just.
Okay, just have some.
Yeah.
Tony, I mean, we can sit in, I mean,
Yeah.
in the audience. And then, right.
We can heckle.
We'll sit outside. Set up some chairs and just open the window.
almost met outside today, so we could just maybe, yeah.
I concur.
All right, yeah, so, we're good, right? The adjourned items is just gonna be, so we're good. Have a motion to adjourn the meeting tonight.
Michael Aronson, motion to adjourn the meeting.
I need a second motion.
Any objections? None, we're done. Thank you, everybody.
All right, good night, thanks, Joe.
All right, bye.